Hello. How's everybody doing on this 5th of July? I hope everybody's doing really well. Move things over real quick just so we can talk briefly. And I want to start off, I guess, by saying, let me adjust some of the microphone position here isn't quite right. There we go. Okay, that should be a little bit better, hopefully. Okay. I guess I'll start off by saying I'm going to be playing Star Wars, of course. If anybody is... I have a big backlog of games and streams that I've done for the past several years. If you're interested in any of those, I've tried to make them as convenient as I possibly can by putting them into playlists, whether those be long playlists of the gameplay itself, or whether those be even longer playlists of broader categories like new game versus old game, Star Wars games, etc. So in this case, this one's going to go into newer games, it's going to go into the list of Star Wars games, and it's going to go into its own category, Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Trying to make it as easy as I possibly can. It's my understanding that some people fall asleep to these streams, so perfectly okay. That's a great compliment, I think. If, however, whatever it is that I'm doing isn't quite in line with what you are interested in at the moment, be it that I'm playing a game you're not particularly interested in, or be it that you don't like what I do in general, but you feel like that the spirit of it's kind of in the right direction, I highly recommend checking out the channels that are down in my description below. Those include Omega Ace Gaming, who is awesome, does a ton of great miscellany, puts up votes for people to have an input on what he's to play next. Does this really awesome series called the Belmont Hold, where he goes through this kind of bestiary of people, characters, and creatures inside of the world. It's really, really, really nice. So if you are interested in Castlevania, or if you're interested in retro games being refound, or new games that kind of are similar to that. I think he's been recently playing, I can't remember what the name of it is. It is The Last Faith, I think is what it's called. But it's a Castlevania-esque game made by the people that made the Wallachia game. Very, very cool. Also Thumbros, who is a speedrunner, retro gamer. He does everything from Let's Play to Let's Learn to the speedruns and competitions themselves. I highly recommend checking out his channels. He has both a Twitch and a YouTube, and they are both linked below. You also have Ash Plays, which is forthcoming content, but still worth keeping a subscription or giving a subscription to so that you can see when things go live. Generally just a candid response to things with some comedy thrown in. Very, very cool. Also, VidiPlays and Vidi's gaming videos. You'll find a great backlog there of candid gameplay on VidiPlays, as well as some more scripted and how do I want to say this, artistically shot videos on the Vidi's gaming videos. So very, very cool. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, my beautiful wife at the Siren Ivy, who I believe streams predominantly on Twitch, plays just a myriad of games, everything from The Sims to current games on the consoles. Generally, supermassive games are going to be her favorite, story-based games, Black Sad, etc., etc. So, a lot of cool stuff there. I won't be super long on the chatting section this time, but I guess I did want to bring up something very, very important to me, and it's going to piggyback on something that I brought up a couple of weeks ago. A belief system. If you're unfamiliar to what we do when it comes to this, we've started off by kind of doing these just chatting kind of beginnings, fireside talks on philosophies and different various things that I find to be important, things that are food for thought, or me subjecting myself potentially to the different opinions of people probably or potentially wiser than I. One of the things that I opined upon about several weeks back, sometime last month, is don't let something that is important to you be relegated to a holiday, to a month. If part of your identity as a member of the LGBTQ2I+, don't let the end of that be June. And I was wording that I believed that a lot of times when we do that, we give permission unintentionally to people. I'm not a member of the community personally, but it doesn't mean that I don't or can't sympathize. I read something specifically, and it was basically once June was over, literally the second day of July, I believe, that's a wrap on Pride 2025. The month is over, but Pride 2025, that's a wrap. Not a wrap on the month, not a wrap on the month of June, not a wrap on specific Pride initiatives, or at least that wasn't what was worded. It was, that's a wrap on Pride 2025. And it cements, I think, a little bit of what I was concerned about, which is that when you allow someone to relegate something to a celebratory month, you allow them permission to forget about it the rest of the 11. You allow them to downplay it. You allow them to minimize it. And I got to see that firsthand happen. And it's a sad vindication, certainly. A bittersweet pill. Bitter in that I was correct, and sweet in that I was correct. I get to be correct, which is a shallow victory, because it was about something that I don't like, that I was upset about being correct about. I would much rather have been proved wrong. So I guess what I'm going to say next is similarly contentious, but potentially a smidge more so. We live in tumultuous times. Whether you are someone who falls on the right side of the political distribution or the left side of the political distribution, whether you consider yourself a centrist, a neutral party, a nihilist, a disinterested party, right, apolitical. We live in tumultuous times, times which are unavoidably more difficult than they've needed to be, times that are unavoidably more difficult than they've been prior. They may not be the most difficult times, and it's not certainly, I think, a time to try and pick up against why things might have been tougher in 1912 or 1940 or 1830. But it is, again, in most people's life, tumultuous, difficult, draining. And we've just celebrated our 249th Independence Day. Next year, we will be 250 years old if you're an American, which is a pretty young age for a country. There's many countries in Europe that are much, much older than us, and countries in Africa and Asia that are much, much older than they. One of the things that I want to say is whether or not you are a particular political affiliate, whether or not you agree with what's going on right now, whether or not you agree with the way things are, I would ask that you don't allow that to impact how proud you are to be American. You can be upset and hate what's going on and hate people that are doing things. And I'm not naming names, but you'll have your list, I'm sure. But also understand that generally, if they are going against the grain of that which we were dedicated to the proposition of, which was that all men are created equal, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. That's verbatim from one of our most sacred of documents. We've been able to take that farther than we even intended it back when it was penned. And so, while there are people who work in government even, whose express purpose it is to make America better, to make it easier for the people to survive and to live and to be free and to be happy. And while there are people who are actively acting against those interests, I'm not naming names. You have your list, I may have mine, but I don't want that to impact your pride in being an American. Don't be disappointed in being an American. Be disappointed in the Americans who are being un-American. Right? Being American isn't about laughing at the rest of the world because we're better. It's not about that. And I'm not saying we are. It's not about being some arbitrary kind of better. It's about tenets and a philosophy. It's about tenets and philosophy. Tenets are what and how. Things that we believe need be achieved, be afforded to everyone. And a philosophy that everyone be afforded opportunity. Right? They be afforded the opportunity to do the same things. The result may vary, but they have the opportunity to do the same things. They're afforded an opportunity to be wealthy. They're afforded an opportunity to live comfortably. They're afforded an opportunity to fight in an appropriate arena if necessary, and they are afforded opportunity to do what they believe is correct for their family, be it against those threats that may be foreign in the event that there are, and those that may be domestic in the event that they are. To opine, whether it's popular or unpopular, to speak freely, be it good or evil, but to be able to speak it freely. To be able to protest, and I mean peacefully, obviously, not to go and hurt people, not to go and destroy property, but the right to assemble, which is encased in our rights. The freedom to speak about what we believe is good, and the freedom to detest and to protest what we believe is bad. And I believe that just because there are people out there who are doing things that I would say are anti-American, right? I'm talking about people who are violent, people who are liars, people who are manipulative, people, again, within our own government who would rather serve their own interests, the interests of friends versus the interests of all Americans. I think it's perfectly acceptable to protest and to detest and to publicly speak about them in the way that you feel is accurate and right. But don't let that diminish being proud to be American, because these times will pass. And we will be still here. We will be fighting beyond the various oppressions levied against us in the name of remaining free and united. And we will remain dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. We will conceive continuously our actions and our rules and our philosophies around the pretense and premise of liberty. And so long as we understand how much deeper we can go with the things that our forefathers brought forth, how much more we can help flesh those words and to give them greater, grander, more robust, but yet still true meaning beyond even what our forefathers thought they could mean. I think that's what we should be proud of and should take part in if you want to participate. So again, just because we are in tumultuous times, don't let that temper your pride. Be proud of the people who fought in the wars prior to us, whether they were senseless wars or not, that they were brave enough to go. We can be upset about the reasons that we held them, but we don't need to be upset at the people who risked everything to do what they believed was best for us, even if it was under a lie. And don't believe that the 4th of July is the only time we should be proud about being an American. All right? Now, I want to go ahead and extend that to everyone. If you are from the United Kingdom, any of the territories of the United Kingdom, I would argue the same thing. I know politics have gone the world over very negatively, in a very negative direction. What I would ask is, when you once felt pride for wherever you are, what was it? What philosophies, what actions, what people embodied those things that you espoused as important to your own sense of identity, and the sense of identity that is incumbent upon you being in those places, living, being born in. Don't allow your holidays and your politicians and your inundations with random political pundits, don't let those color what you believe that should mean and what it means to you and how you act upon it and the pride you carry in doing those things, in speaking those words, in solving those problems. The 4th of July has passed. We are 249 years old. Young. Don't let that be the end of being proud. Don't let June be the end of being proud if you're a part of that community of the LGBTQ2IA+. Don't let July be the end of being proud to be American. Right? And again, this is not propaganda. I'm not telling you to believe in the people that are running our country. I certainly wouldn't do that. There aren't people that I could trust any farther than I could throw them. But what we are and what we can be is better. We can make America better. We can make the world better. All we have to do is what many people have already had the courage to do. Non-violently protest, speak freely and cleanly and clearly, and maintain at the very base of it all an appropriate pride, and that be the philosophy of your actions moving forward. That you want what you believe to be sacred, what you believe to be worth preserving, what you believe to be worth talking about and protesting for. That you are proud of that, and that you want to attain and regain and improve upon that. It's a difficult thing to talk about for a lot of people. There's always some sort of political this or that or the other, and I see a lot of it. I hear the podcasts, what's his name, Tim whatever, the Destinies, the Andrew Wilsons, the Andrew Tates, the different people on different sides, right? I'm not here to tell you that. I don't care what side of the political fence you fall on. If at the core it's your fighting, and I mean that in a non-violent way, I'm talking about within the rules and the things afforded to you. The freedom to speak and the freedom to assemble and the freedom to protest and the freedom to use your outlets to do what you feel like is necessary, so long as you're not doing it to hurt people. And again, words can be harmful. I'm talking about actually hurting people. I'm talking about going out and destroying, flipping cars and throwing Molotovs and stuff. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't hurt people. Don't physically hurt people. Don't put people's lives in danger. But if you go out and you are using these outlets, whatever side of the political spectrum you fall on, to try and improve upon the things that make us American, right? The freedoms that we originally had and the equality we seek and the opportunity that we're supposed to represent for the world, whatever side of the fence that you fall on, I'm proud to be a part of a country that has that. And even if I disagree, Again, so long as you're doing it in the ways that are appropriate, so long as you're doing it with that reason at the very base. You're not hurting people physically. You're not destroying property, but you're protesting. You're doing what you believe in. You're doing it within the rules, things that are afforded to you. You're not silencing other people, but you're not being silenced yourself. Again, whether I agree with you or I don't disagree with you, if you're following those rules and you're protesting because you believe it's going to make America better, a better place, then I'm proud of you too. Don't let that stop because a month with a holiday that's tied to that happens to end, or the holiday itself ends. Don't stop being proud because June is over. Don't stop being proud to be American because the 4th of July is over. You can no more do that than you can stop loving your partner because Valentine's Day is over. Stop believing that a person can be lucky because March is over. Stop believing that there are times for fresh starts just because New Year's Day has passed. Stop celebrating your religion because its respective holiday has passed. Or stop enjoying the fun that comes with Halloween because October's over. Right? Embody the spirit of those things and carry them beyond. Even if it's something silly like every month is Halloween, that's fine. No need to stop. At any rate, I just wanted to put that out there for people. It's something that I think is really important, and that I was disappointed again to see vindication on a little bit. But I hope that that's the case. I don't want to get super into the weeds on a lot of it because obviously I know it's a big what the heck? I know it's a big deal, and I know it's difficult for a lot of people to talk about, and I know that there are a lot of nuances and so on and so forth that I didn't discuss and that I don't even know if I have the qualifications to discuss appropriately, but I think it's something worth talking about. So, but on lighter notes, we'll jump into Star Wars. We'll keep this one brief because that was something I thought was really important. So let's fade the music out here. Now, when we last left off, we were... Let me turn that down in my ear a little bit. We were on a very interesting planet where we can actually see these archives here. These archives are actually books. If we take a look, we can actually see some of the books having been pulled out. So any place that you see that is a dark space, the book's been pulled out. Any space that's a light space, the book is in, flashing, whatever. Very, very neat. And these are reminiscent. If you're sitting there going, I think I've seen this before, you kind of have. These are what the archives looked like back at the... these are what the Jedi archives looked like back at the Jedi Temple when you looked at... like Jocasta Nu in Episode 2, or a couple of the scenes that Anakin was walking through in Episode 3. We've got Bode.
So where are we headed first? Back to Kobo? Or its moon?
I think we should check out the High Republic settlement first.
Yeah, let's scope it out. Dagan Gera was bound to leave something behind.
Okay, so I need to figure out...
Roll out when you are.
Ah, Cal. I was hoping we could speak about something.
Talk about Eno real quick. This is a hideout, so...
Quite an ancient one.
Should be nice and safe.
Desert. I visited it during my early days on Jeddah, before the Empire's presence grew.
What kind of site?
one built by those who revered Force users. We know little about them, but I found the experience quite fascinating. Perhaps you will too.
I'll check it out.
Okay. Very cool. And then we've got Seer.
Found you while he was seeking other Jedi survivors.
Yes. Hard to believe that fate brought us together once again after all this time.
Could have used that luck when we were hunting for the hologram.
She sounds a lot like Euthura Ban.
Luck or fate. I'm just happy my master is alive and here with us.
Let's see, who played Euthura Ban?
Determined as ever to tend to the Jedi legacy and resist the Empire.
I want to see who played Euthura Ban. So Euthura Ban was played by Tamara Phillips, which is fun, but she sounded a lot like Euthura to me. I have played KOTOR on the channel, so if you're interested, if you've not played KOTOR and you're interested in taking a look, I would highly recommend. I talked to Bode. Whom else do I need to talk to? Who else do I need to talk to, rather? There's Grease. I could probably talk to him.
Glad you didn't have to fly through that storm. So, how's it feel to be piloting the Mantis again?
Like being home.
Then why the long...
I like Grease.
It's been too long. My pilot instincts are all off.
I know how hard it is trying to relearn skills you put to the side.
I guess so, huh? Still, I regret ever walking away from the Mantis. Keep thinking I'm gonna slip up.
You walked away when you needed to. I know you'll pick it back up in no time.
Okay. You're a good friend, Cal.
Yeah, I like him. Where did there she is. Are you coming with me, or are you okay? That was a weird walk. I guess we're gonna run. Yeah, she's coming with me wherever I'm going, I guess. I think we're gonna head out in the Mantis. Bode's not with us. Maybe it's just us. Okay. I can't jump through that. All right. Come on. I was gonna say I can't run anymore.
Hey, Cal.
There's Bode.
I've had this since I started freelancing. It's gotten me out of some bad situations, and I figured it might do the same
It's a really cool looking blaster, by the way. Looks like an 1800s kind of like revolver.
Well, I could get another one if you think you might want to.
No need. Both.
Yeah, you're good. Okay.
My master always frowned upon using blasters.
You once said it wasn't the weapon that makes you a Jedi.
It's us against the galaxy, Cal. We've got to use every advantage we can find against the Empire.
Thanks, Bode.
Tuck that right away in my boot, I guess. Nope, just happened to have a holster, I guess. All right, fair enough.
No, I'll show you how to use it.
So this is a lightsaber form I'm probably not going to use very much. It does help when you're on a mount, because you can use it now.
A real stormtrooper won't stay still.
Gotta start somewhere. Well, there you go.
Not bad, Jedi.
So, how long have you been working for Seer?
I do not work for Seer.
Right. My mistake.
And then you get your ammo back this way, which ammo is kind of weird. This is the
I like stormtroopers.
Who does?
Impressive.
I think you got it, Cal.
okay, cool. Yeah, we're gonna keep to what we have. Thank you. We don't have the saber form that I am gonna use. I didn't realize we got this one next. This is not the saber form I'm gonna use most of the time. So we're gonna go.
It's nice seeing you again, Merrin.
You too, Cal. Good luck. Perhaps I will still be here when you return.
Hope so.
I don't know where the heck you're going if not. All right, Bode.
This is a smart operation Seer's put together.
Why do you say that?
All this rock? Natural shielding against sensors.
Yeah, and if anyone makes it past all that, the Anchorites have plenty of holobooks to throw at them.
And you can see how Seer's managed to evade the Empire for so long. She makes her own luck, keeping so much of her power held back to achieve a larger goal.
Yeah. There's definitely more to her than meets the eye.
You two have that in common.
Cool. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and run up here, and we'll take a peek. I can customize the blaster, I think. Let me do that real quick. I don't think I'll probably use it, but just in case. I will use it on a mount. Whenever you're on a mount, you can actually use it without having to change the...
Focus on my equipment.
Yeah. You can actually change it without the need. I've been doing the Aniobi, but I might actually change it up too. We'll see what happens. So on this, I actually have part of the pre-order DLC is I actually can use this to make, let's see here. There we go. I can actually make a full DL44. For anybody who doesn't know, the DL44 is the Han Solo blaster. He uses a heavily modified one, but we can actually take that, and now we have the Han Solo DL44. And then we can we can actually give it some really cool colors. So we can go primary, let's see. We'll make the Han Solo one. Han had kind of a darker one. That says textured black rubber. We don't really have a dark. We have the silver alloy, but it's highly reflective. Let's take the polish away from it, maybe. Yeah, it's going to lighten up. Let's see. And then we have obviously these weird. Oh, that dark iron will work actually. That's not bad. And then we can. Doesn't matter because it's dark iron. We can turn the polish up on it. Yeah, okay. We'll do that. Secondary. Kind of keep the same. Accent. We'll make the rubber. Like that. The grip needs to probably stay Greel wood, because I think that's what that one is. And then the condition can be aged, ancient, pristine. No, it's definitely going to be... Let's go yeah, let's go aged. There we go. Perfect. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and customize.
And effective.
Yeah, I like having that. So I think I'm going to go ahead and customize. I've been doing this with the Obi-Wan. We'll see if I've gotten enough to make it a cool kind of customized one. So let's do... We'll use patience. No. You tell you what. We'll keep the hermit on this side.
Easier than building my first one.
Yeah, well, it should be. We've got a lot of switches, so let's do diligence. I like the hermit grip, but let's do Jaro Tapal. Let's change the... I don't think we have a lot of these, honestly, so I think I'm going to leave this because I kind of like it a lot. And then we'll go to this one. And I'm actually going to give it the hermit grip because I like that one. We'll give this one the Jaro Tapal because it's nice and smooth. And then this one we will give... Whoops. We'll also give this one patience. Let's do that. And then we'll change the color. So this is going to look a little wonky. That's okay though. All right, accents. I want. Let's see. No, I want something that's. I do want electrum plated, but I want something. All right, let's do electrum plated, but then secondary, let's do like bronzium to give it the kind of like really shiny, and then on the accent, let's do chromium. Let's give it a real... Oops, I don't think I did that right. Chromium. And then the grip. I want the grip. Let's keep a bronzium grip there. And then condition, I want it pristine. All right, cool. So this is going to be way flashy. I didn't even activate it? Okay. All right, cool. I guess it doesn't activate if you I guess it doesn't activate if you don't change the crystal, which we're green, so no problem. Okay, we'll rest. There aren't any enemies. That saves my game, though. All right. Bode, are you on board? Are you coming with us, or is Grease coming with us, or is it just us? All right, let's see. So we have a couple of places we can go. We can go to the Shattered Moon, or we can go back to Kobo. And I like this. This is one of the cool things. So we're currently on Jeddah. You can see we've explored 19.4%. And then over here you can see, so Kobo 26, and then over here Shattered Moon. We're going to go ahead and go to the Shattered. I said Kobo would probably be better, but I actually disagree. I think with myself, I think I should go to the Shattered Moon.
The moon of Kobo.
Okay, Grease has somehow gotten in the ship before me.
Anchorites aren't so bad after all.
Didn't you call them weirdos?
Where's Bode?
Seer told me they're helping those poor refugees hide from the Empire.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah, working with the group called the Hidden Path. Real hush-hush stuff, so keep it in the family.
Understood. Seems like you've got a nice crew. Well, former crew.
Do I? So, Cordova thinks we'll find out how to cross the abyss by tracking down daggers.
I've always thought it would be these.
That's right.
That's really cool.
About this laboratory on the moon, Grease?
Let's see.
What am I, a tour guide? I'm a busy Latero. No time.
That's really cool. I've always thought it would be really, really cozy
Believe me.
to have ships that could do this.
Jeddah's a moon.
There is a there's a lot of
Ready, Cal? We're almost there.
yeah, I'll do. We're not. I've always thought it'd be really kind of cozy, especially like places like this right here where you sit around this little table. I've always thought this kind of stuff would be really nice and cozy. I'm very claustrophilic, so I like the little closed-in spaces. Whoops. I like the little closed-in spaces, so personally, this is no problem. This is a hyperdrive, by the way. But I think this would be really cozy. The logistics of it, the dangerous part, right, is if you're going this fast, which is, you know, light speed, you're going the speed of light. Firstly, that's probably not how that's going to look. Maybe it is, but I don't think so, because there's still light coming around the same. And then the other piece is the velocity. I mean, like, how do you circumvent being pulled back into the very back of the, because the faster you go, right, the faster you're going to be. So like this walking around probably not going to work. How many G's does light speed pull, you know? For anybody who doesn't know, if you're trained, 9 G's, which is not light speed, not even close.
Sorry.
Good?
Yeah, just a smidge rusty. You?
A little restless, but we'll be fine.
Sipping on a lavender green tea with lavender,
Do me a favor.
crushed lavender.
Giving me a stomach ache.
Sure it's not your cooking?
What was that?
We're almost there.
Locals say the moon's haunted.
There's supposed to be a point. I think I can already do it, and I just haven't done it. I need to take a look, or maybe I did do it and I didn't think about it. But I need to take a look. I want to see. Let me take a look really quick. I want to customize. Look, I want to see what customization I have for the Mantis. Do I not have any? Okay, let me look at my perks real quick. What do I have? The one I have takes all 3, right? Resilience. No, I'm using both of them. Okay, that's fine. I thought I had customization for the Mantis, but I guess I don't. Maybe that's just in the first one. I thought there was. But right now I can only customize Cal, so all right. Maybe it pops up somewhere else. Does it pop up here by chance? Like, I just want to look real quick.
Let's go to...
Yeah, no, we're gonna stay right here. I just want to make sure, like... Okay, all right, fine. We're just gonna go... We're just gonna do here. Okay, this part is really... So this looks really cool.
They couldn't have put this
Very reminiscent of Polis Moss. For anybody who doesn't know, by the way.
But if we find something...
Let me see right here.
help us navigate the Kobo Abyss, so be it.
The way Grease tells it, the Abyss is a ship graveyard. And now we're on a lunar graveyard.
A lot of graveyards.
A lot of graveyards.
Well, there are more people dead than alive, so... More people are corpses than there are living today, or at any given moment. Probably that's most likely true for all of this area as well. But like one of the things everybody kind of looks at is origin planets for different ones. So Qui-Gon Jinn was born and raised on Coruscant. Obi-Wan Kenobi was born on a planet called Stewjon, actually named after Jon Stewart, so fun fact there. Han Solo on Corellia. Luke Skywalker and Leia, however, were not born on Tatooine, or this kind of the common was like, oh.
The forest array, just on a much grander scale.
Yeah. But a lot of times it's like, oh, born on Tatooine and Alderaan. They weren't. They both were born on Polis Massa. So they might believe that they were born on Alderaan, and they both might believe they were born on Alderaan and Tatooine respectively, but they were both actually born on Polis Massa, and then given to Bail Organa and not Klieg, but Owen Lars. Klieg was Owen's father. Got an echo down here.
They really think there's something past the abyss.
Centauri Kree does.
I suppose that's enough for the Council.
So some of these echoes, it's interesting because it was originally a very rare ability. It's called called psychometry, which was that ability to touch things and kind of feel the history and what had happened to them. But it was just kind of the only one that really notably had it was a guy, Quinlan Voss. Now Cal Kestis has it, which I think is fine. But then now they also have like I'm trying to think of who else has it. Rey has it. And it's kind of becoming more and more common, the psychometry ability.
To see this place operational after all this time. Stay alert. We need to find that lab.
Which I think is a little sad. I kind of want some of these abilities to stay unique. It's like, for example, Shatterpoint, which is a Mace Windu ability, would not be as special if everybody could do it. Like, if they go back in the history of it and they're like, well, Darth Bane could do it. It's like, okay, well, that's 2,000 years ago. Fair enough, right? That's a long time. But to have it like everybody can do Shatterpoint. Everybody can see the weaknesses and the patterns in it. They'll be like, well, I don't know if I like that.
Let's stop here.
I like special things to be special. It's kind of, again, it kind of goes back. I was having this conversation the other day. It was kind of going back to the Last Jedi, where it's like everybody has the Force, but then the Force is a bloodline thing, but then the Force is a religious thing. It's like, that's kind of the kid at the end when he pulls the broom. He's not just supposed to be everyone. He's special. It's like, we do know that the Force flows through everything. That's...
Sectors 5 through 9 inoperable. Sectors 1 through 4 operational. Facility status activated. Array status deactivated.
Okay. All right, fine. But it's one of the things where when the kid at the very end he picks up the broom, it's like everybody has the Force. We know that because Obi-Wan Kenobi says that, but not everybody can use the Force. It's not even just a matter of training.
We'll need to reinforce the chamber again.
That's also kind of the problem. One of the problems I had with the Ahsoka series, although I do think the Ahsoka series is really neat. I'm gonna whoa! I am glad you were stupid just there. Sorry for what? You're dead.
For us.
Okay. Yeah, it was kind of so a little bit of spoiler if you've not seen the Ahsoka series. Ahsoka series has been out for a little while now, so I don't feel ridiculously bad about it. But if you have seen the Ahsoka series, you know that part of the okay, that wasn't. I'm supposed to be on that, I guess, for something. I don't know what. Ah. You know that, oh, I like that. Okay, that's going on my saber here in a bit. Next workbench I get a chance to go to. What is her name? Sabine Wren. You know, she starts to kind of learn the Force, and it's like, maybe she could. There's only been one Mandalorian that did. And it's kind of part of the indoctrination of the Mandalorian clan that prevents them from being ridiculously effective Force users. And then she struggles and she's incredibly weak, and it's kind of already said. Yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and take you down. Beautiful. That should have been a decapitation. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen Satele struggle a lot more, and I'd like to have seen her. There's a point where she is kind of captured, and she pulls the saber to her after having not been able to successfully do any of that for a long period of time.
That's not opening.
I would have liked to have seen that struggle for longer, and for that struggle to be harder, and for her just not to be able to do it. That's a maintenance droid, so no worries. I saw the glow of your thing through the wall. You weren't very good at this.
How many more are waiting for us?
I mean, he didn't even block very well. He blocked like 3 or 4 of my hits, and then he stayed in the corner. Is there down there? Aha. Can I get down there? Is that glass? That's glass. God dang it. Okay. There's a chest down there, though. Okay.
Bad feeling? Yeah, me too.
Okay, this is the benefit you would never have. But we can very clearly see these guys waiting for us over here. That guy over there, right? I can't sneak around, but we can very clearly see him doing this, right? I don't know if this will... Oh, he got me. I don't know if that'll target the other guy. It did. Here, we'll do this just to keep things nice and even for now. Luckily, regular old battle droids are not that tricky.
You can't escape me.
I'm not looking to escape. Now I think I know how Darth Maul felt a little bit. You can play, by the way, you do get a red saber. You don't get a red saber until you've passed the original story. I have passed the original story. But I haven't passed it on Xbox. I've only passed it on PlayStation 5. I have said already I'm going to do a Witcher 3 playthrough eventually on here because I absolutely adore this. Star Wars being my favorite franchise, but Witcher being probably my second favorite. And it's not a huge margin between those two. I do want to do a Witcher 3. I think when I do my Witcher 3 playthrough...
All you, BD.
Because The Witcher 3 links all of your progress from all consoles, and I own this game on every console, and I own The Witcher on every console that it's possible to. So, like, I own this on this. I own this on PlayStation 5. I think we own a PC version of this, I think. And then for The Witcher, we own The Witcher on this, on PlayStation, on Switch, and on PC, on GOG. It allows you to transfer your save, though. It's completely cross-save. And, okay, cool. Very cool. That's even better. It's completely cross-save. And so... because it is completely cross-save, when I play it, I will probably be playing a New Game Plus file. It will not make it much easier, but it will make it easy enough that I'm not completely struggling because The Witcher is a much longer game than this game.
The laboratory is off limits. The laboratory is inaccessible.
You're okay. Find somewhere to hide.
I don't have access. I tried to tell them. Please, leave me be.
Okay.
Raiders really did a number on these droids.
I'm gonna grab Priorite or data disk. Okay. But yeah, The Witcher is a lot longer of a game, so when I do eventually get to playing that, which will probably be in 2 games time, something like 2 or 3 games time. I know I'm playing Splinter Cell Chaos Theory at some point. I think someone asked for the Outer Wilds, so I'll probably do that, which is also a fairly short game. I did not know that. One of the things I also really like about this is really cool. You'll notice his block meter, it can refill. If I break the block meter, then I can take some hits on him. But if I'm behind him, if I'm behind him, that didn't hurt me, thankfully, then it doesn't actually take from his block meter, it will go ahead and take from his life because I got behind him. So you can see that I took some life from him because I got behind him. And the mechanics work the same. If he successfully gets hits on me, he gets block meter back, just like if I successfully get hits on him. Best time to try to get hits on the back, those big super attacks like that. Or multiple chain combos if you can get behind them. Gosh. This is another really good time to get a couple of back hits on him.
Hey, BD.
God dang it. That was... Magna Guards are frustrating in the same for the same reason that they were with Obi-Wan and Anakin. They block everything and they are... Gosh... Friggin... I didn't mean to use 2 stems. Gosh, frickin' dang it. This will be it. Supposed to... Yeah. Supposed to take the head off in order for that to happen, but oh well. Let's see. I don't think I can open these right now, can I? Oh yeah, I can. Harmony. Okay, we might find the whole Harmony saber here. That'll be cool. I think that's probably what is intended. Yeah, I think the Outer Wilds. I think we're playing the Outer Wilds, and I know we're playing Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. I know that those were the intended, so that's what we're gonna try to do. Chaos Theory in March turned 20 years old, so there's a reason for that. And then Outer Wilds was just a suggestion, and then Witcher 3 turned 20 in May. So there's a good I think there's also a really pretty good reason to play that. Not to mention that I just freaking love the game. And I argue that in terms of Star Wars, I think KOTOR is probably the most well-made game ever. I didn't know I was supposed to double jump. I think KOTOR is probably the most well-made game it's my favorite. Let me not lie and say it's most well-made, period. I think it's very well made. It still stands up very well after, at this point, it is 23 years old, I think. I still think it's one of the most well-made games. The story is really good, and I enjoy the heck out of it. It's on cell phones now, which I would never have dreamed of back when the game originally came out. Now you can actually just play it on your cell phone, and it's actually pretty good too. But Witcher 3, I think, is very possibly the most well-made game of all time. So far, at least, I would argue that it's a heavy contender. I have some people that disagree. They're, Red Dead Redemption 2. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is a great game, but there are things about Red Dead Redemption 2 that, to me, still are not quite on that level of being kind of as polished. Okay, I just want to take a quick peek around. I'm sure I'm meant to go... Wait. I'm sure I'm meant to go this way, but I just want to take a peek and see. Because down here is a shortcut. I don't... How did I get an extra stim pack back? Alright. Okay, so this just takes me back to the fight room. Okay, alright, fair enough. But yeah, I think Witcher 3 is probably one of the most well-made games ever. There are definitely things I have disagreement with, but pretty good. This game is also fantastic. It's definitely it knows what it's trying to be, and I think it does a really good job of being it. But as far as most well-made Star Wars games, this actually would be on the top of the list there. There's some stiffness that I kind of...
Not out of it yet. Kidding me? Nice work, buddy.
There's some there are some... Okay, cool. I'm going to do that in a minute. There is some stiffness that was in the first game that they got rid of here, and then there's kind of some stiffness here that is... It's still really good, but it's like... When you're doing the challenges, I haven't done any of the major challenges yet, but when you're doing especially like the platform challenges, it'll frustrate the heck out of you. I think I'm going to just make a pretty saber now. I know that sounds... Okay, there we go. I know that sounds counterintuitive because it's a weapon, but I kind of just want to make a good... Like a saber that I would want to carry. So we're going to rest... I have 1 point. Let me see what that... I think I need 2 points for the next skill I want, but let me look real quick. Survival. Yeah, I need 2 for focused sight. So, survival will be maxed out, and then we will start going to lightsaber. This form right here is the form I'm going to use probably the most. So, maximum force increased, confusion, so the telekinesis, wrenching pull, and then the other one is attunement. You're noticing I'm not using a lot of... Honestly, let's go ahead and put that point there. The other one's not absolutely necessary. I do usually start with survival, but I'm not going to start putting a lot in the lightsaber until I get my dominant form, and then I will start doing that.
Come on, buddy.
I'm also going to explain why I like the dominant form that I like here, and it's going to go completely contrary to my belief on that particular type of saber.
Tweaks.
All right, so let's just real quick. We have... So I like... the way that Harmony looks. Actually, I might like the way Harmony looks all the way around. Let's see. Okay, I like... I like Patience. And we have the Harmony grip, which I actually like a lot better. Look at how beautiful that is. And then I think we don't... I think that's the only one we have is the regulars here. Similar, I want this one. And then on this side, I think I'm going to put Let's balance it with diligence and then balance it with harmony.
Pretty proud of this one.
Look at how pretty that is. I mean, it's a little... It's pretty. That's all it is. It's not perfectly balanced, but I'm okay with it. And BD1's my little R2. I think that's fine. Dual wield. Yeah, that's what I want. Cool. No, I guess I activate it regardless. All right, so now we have a really pretty saber. And we saved our game back there. I don't need to save it after customizing. This is not really necessary. Okay, this looks like it's also meant to be... But, oh yeah, it goes up there. Okay, I gotcha. I'll have to work my way up there, I'm sure. I think because they knew that there was not the same stiffness as there was in the first one, they really decided to get crazier with the platforming challenges. And it's not bad. Uh-oh. It's not bad, honestly. But when you start getting to like the big platforming challenges, it can get a little rough. I mean, like, it's some split-second reaction type stuff, so... It would be better... We have all these consoles. Can we not just turn off whatever's turned on? There's no need for it to... How far does this creep up? All the way? Okay, no. So it's gonna... So I'm gonna have to go... It's... So then you go...
Not done yet. We can do this.
Like this. And for whatever reason, it doesn't come down and get me. I'm sure this is where I'm supposed to get off, but okay, yeah, I have to. I was gonna say, is there more grate to... There isn't, though. Okay. Wait. Alright. Fair enough.
Ready, BD?
It is pretty satisfying. The wire jumps are really pretty satisfying. I went the wrong way. That wasn't... Okay. That wasn't because I hit any button. It's just it put me on there, and once you're on, you can't really change direction in the way that's set up. Oh, come on, me. One thing I will say about this game is I think this game captured the essence of Star Wars music pretty darn well. It's not Williams who did it, of course, but it's very Williams adjacent, I guess is the word I would use. Why did he not let me... I did pull the trigger, actually, so... Maybe I didn't... Maybe I did something else wrong. Try this again. But there are a lot of things that... Star Wars music is one of those musical... again, very similar to Witcher. It's one of those... Very different mood that I could listen to and just great feeling. Just, it's such a... Okay, there I did it. I guess I didn't hit it hard enough, or didn't pull it far enough, maybe?
You enjoy that, buddy?
There we go. KOTOR 2 is one of those that... KOTOR 1 is one that I could absolutely just, like, fall asleep to for long periods of time, or listen to for long periods of time, fall asleep to. KOTOR 2 is really good about that, though, too, which was Mark Grisky. This one... Again, this one's also really, really good, but they just did a great job of kind of capturing the warmth. Okay. They just captured this kind of warmth, which is really, really nice. So this has a soundtrack, and this actually has 2 soundtracks. It has this soundtrack.
Haunted old ruin. But if the boss says there's something here, who am I to question it?
This has a soundtrack of this has this soundtrack, which is the one that you hear while you're actually playing, and then it has like the Cantina soundtrack, which is pretty good. Let him go ahead and activate that. And is that a shortcut? Looks like that's a shortcut. Yep. Good.
Oh, look. The Jedi. You shouldn't be here. No. Too close. Fun as it is to have something to fight, Ravis won't be too happy if you get any closer. So run along, Jedi.
Okay. Fair enough. You and I began with the Big Bang because all substance in the universe is organic unity. Once in a primeval age, all matter was gathered into a clump so enormously massive that a pinhead weighted many billions of tons. This primeval atom exploded because of the enormous gravitation. It was as if something disintegrated. When we look up at the sky, we are trying to find our way back to ourselves. Very, very deep, Mr. Vitti. And the subscription to the Big Bang Theory, which I find very interesting as well. I think there are some not counter necessarily, but alternative subscriptions to the origin of life, which come in the form of not a massive, not enormous gravitation to the point of a single pinhead, but these random gravitational undulations, I think. This kind of pulsing in and out, and that the pulsing in and out caused the stretching of particular things, molecules and atoms and the like, quarks perhaps even instead. Although I don't know. Obviously the Big Bang is one I'd heard. Oh, I got 75 XP from that. Would you like some toast this morning? 75 XP. How did you get... What is XP? Like, are you making a joke? Because I'm noticing on this... So I switched over... Let me go ahead and pause this for a second. I switched over from Chrome to Opera, which I have very much enjoyed so far. Mostly because of nerdy reasons. It has some cool stuff in it, like a VPN and all that, which of course I'm using VPNs when I need to, but it has a Witcher theme, which of course I use the Witcher 3 theme on it. Really, really cool. But it should just be the effect of my browser, and now I'm in YouTube, and YouTube has this little #1 crown next to you, Viddy. Top fans in live chat. Okay, yeah, and it shows you as a #1 right now, which I don't know. Maybe that's a new YouTube thing. I didn't change any settings, so it's pretty cool, I guess. I don't know what it does. I apologize if you're someone who is really excited about the game aspect. Well, here, let's do this. We're going to toss ourselves a stem, and then we're going to pause all this, and we're just going to kill. Real quick. It may have collected... It may have collected all the mini chatting I did in the past, but honestly, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll do some research into it and see, because I don't know. You were the first person to jump in today, and again, I don't do this usually. Like, I do this just... it's always fun to get to talk with people, but I do this just to play games and have fun. And then hopefully people come in, and so I don't really know a lot about this, the what you can do and don't do on it, or not do on it.
What's that?
I commented some philosophy talk before that because I finished Sophie's World. Yay! Hey, wonderful. And what now that looking back in hindsight, what have you thought? What are your overall thoughts? Yeah, I didn't know if it was just... I don't know if, I mean, because you're seeing it, it's a YouTube thing. It's got to be. I thought it could have been like an Opera integration, but I guess not. But I have enjoyed Opera. I know a lot of people, oh, Firefox, oh, this, oh, that. Fine. Whatever, but... I'm personally enjoying Opera as a browser. Not bad. I reviewed it on my book section. I didn't get a notification. I'll need to go back and take a peek at it. Yeah, I didn't get a notification that you had. That's disappointing. I'm sorry. Okay, so I have my shortcut back. Okay, perfect. All right, fair play. Now I can just go down here and absolutely wreck all these guys. Oops. Oh, really? There's another B1 over there. We'll take it down. Thing was good even in slow motion. Very nice.
Sounds like they're defending something.
Sing us some opera. I thought you said operas and people. No. I love opera. I'm not a singer of opera, sadly. I enjoy listening to it, depending on what kind. But I am no singer of opera. I don't have a Pavarotti voice or anything like that. Gosh dang! I hit the wrong button. Or some arrangement from Star Wars. Or that song from The Fifth Element where that lady sings songs that you can't actually sing because uvulas don't work that way. I'm not... It's the thing, I don't have a very pleasant voice for singing or in general. So it's you know, I'm not a person who necessarily enjoys the sound of my own voice when singing or speaking. Let's do that. I wish I had a great singing voice. That would be really nice. No, Opera the browser is what I mean. I have started using it for the for the first time ever. I'm normally I've been a Firefox and a Chrome user as needed. Uh-oh. Yeah, that wasn't gonna work. Let's get this guy real quick. These guys are frustrating. It sounds like a B1, but it's not. It's one of these guys. Assassin droids. I dare say you have a more pleasant voice for speaking, live streaming, etc. than I do. And this is coming from someone who's been recommended to pursue some kind of voice work later this year. You should. You have. I think a lot of people, rightfully so, enjoy.
So much better.
Okay, I'll say something that I believe.
And tore this moon apart.
I think that people. So one of the things I think is a common misconception, in fact, is that being an American doesn't, for Americans, being an American doesn't mean having an accent. That's what they think is, oh, I'm an American, therefore I have no accent. And they believe that accents from other parts of the world, i.e. Australia, or England, or, have this greater air of sophistication. I don't think that they're wrong in that certain accents are affiliated more with sophistication. And I think the Australian accent, and more particularly your accent, has that. You have the ability to speak in a philosophically sophisticated way, but you also have an accent that lends credence towards sophistication. Whereas being an American is traditionally, and the accents kind of therein, are generally not considered sophisticated. They're generally considered... Think about the stereotypes for just a second. I know Australia has multiple different accents or versions of the accents. But in America, you have kind of 5 major accents or 4 major accents that you see. One is going to be kind of the Southern accent, which is generally equated with a lack of intelligence. Another might be the Midwestern, which is equated with kindness, but again, not particularly intelligent. Another would be the Californian stereotype kind of surfer bro, which is, again, not generally considered very intelligent. Another one is going to kind of be the fast-talking New Yorker, up to New Englander even in some instances, and that's going to be affiliated with being a business person, generally slimy, sleazy, not willing to do what's right, but willing to do what's going to make a quick buck. And then you kind of have the attempted astute general accent. So mine is a fairly neutral American, somewhat pseudo-transatlantic accent, which is literally just to be as well understood. The reason that I have the accent I have is because I want you to be able to understand what I'm saying as clearly as I speak it. And there's not really a stereotype for that because a lot of people don't have that type of accent these days. This is some kind of overall pitch and tone to your voice that just simply makes the live streams work. It's as if saying, hey, let's have a good old chat. Let's just have a good old chat. Well, and that's exactly what I want. So I'm glad that it's conveyed, if not explicitly. I'm glad it is conveyed. It says 3 watching now. Where are the other 2? Maybe that is a philosophical question. The other 2 are bots. I hope not. It's possible. We do get a whole lot of, we do get bots at random. I suppose if they're not too obtrusive, they're welcome also. Okay, that's just where I've come from. So let me. I appreciate that. I'm quite flattered to be considered or to have a voice that is considered by you to be comfortable in a welcoming way. That's I think arguably. I mean, I think that's the most effective message I would like to give is to be comfortable to come and talk. Uh-oh. Okay, that's probably exactly what I needed to happen. That was a very unusual glitch, though, if you didn't... Okay, I need to be a little farther from the wall. Okay, that killed me. What am I supposed to do there? Oh, it's Ash. Bots, huh? I didn't know the Daleks from Doctor Who were watching. Hey, Ash, how are you doing? I hope you're doing well. I need to get up quickly before they Okay. Down it is then. Okay, so it killed me. Okay. It killed me because I jumped. That was silly. Okay, that's fine though. Wait a minute, how come Ash doesn't have the purple? That's a good question. Tough. This is the what icon? Can you see a purple? No, it might also depend on what. Yeah, I can see the purple icon next to yours. I don't know. That is unusual. I'm not sure. What browser are you using, Viddy? It's strange. YouTube is drunk. It's that's probably not a bad way to describe it. Yeah. Okay. I thought it could have been a maintenance droid, but it wasn't. Okay, it immediately kills you. Edge, I think? Okay. That's unusual then. Okay, so that side lingers a little longer. Yeah, I wonder if it's just, or maybe if you're, well, I was going to say, if you're using Edge, it means you're likely on your computer. It could also it also may not work with mobile browsers. I'm not sure. I don't know what it is. I get so tired nowadays. Well, I'd imagine so. I mean, for you, it's what, 1 in the morning? It's a bit later in the morning for me too. I was debating on whether or not to stream tomorrow, and then I thought today. So yesterday, again, 4th of July. Everything was good. I spent most of the day cooking. I really wanted to make some food. I made this really, honestly, if I can say, it was quite lovely. Chicken with rosemary thyme, or chicken and rosemary and thyme, with these potato pancake things that I made. Very, very nice. And then they were made with like a unique, like a cream sauce that I made. So it was like, it was really nice. But we may have overindulged a bit and slept in until like noon. And then I was like, you know what? I'll just stream today. Might as well. I'll spend the whole day tomorrow doing whatever. Rosemary and yeah. Good. Yes, Simon and Garfunkel were onto something when they suggested rosemary and thyme. But it is absolutely delicious. It was. I mean, it was so good. It was really, really nice. I had wanted to cook. Anna had gotten me a cookbook from The Witcher 3. She got me a cookbook from that, and I had wanted to cook some things from it for a long time. The food looks so good, and she said, well, 4th of July, why don't we do that? I said, sure, okay. And sure enough, that's what we did. I spent the day cooking for 4th of July from that cookbook, and it was absolutely delicious. They were well, rosemary, unless there's a difference in the pronunciation of Thyme, not time, not actually singing differently about time, Time. No, they were singing. I mean, they could have been singing about actual time, I guess, right? I think it's supposed to be a love song, and it's supposed to be like artistic license. Beautiful song though. I like Simon and Garfunkel. It's a matter of fact, it was funny. It was my grandmother, and she had listened to Sound of Silence by Disturbed, and she loved it. And by the way, the Disturbed rendition of Sound of Silence is wonderful. She was not aware that the Sound of Silence was originally a Simon and Garfunkel. I told her, I was like, that's a Simon and Garfunkel song, really, really good. And she was like, oh, I didn't know that. I thought Disturbed did it first. Nope. I thought that was funny.
Cordova will want to see.
I kid. It was also the song that was the most overplayed in The Graduate. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, let's just... Okay, he's using... I believe this is going to be where I get my new form. Because it looks like he's using what my form will be. Better. It is satisfying to throw a grenade back at them.
Up here.
I don't have a ton of force power. There we go. And the wall behind me just says LM. I don't know what that's for. Okay, yeah, he's using a lightsaber. Sound of Silence is so good. It is a phenomenal song, but I do argue that the Disturbed version is actually probably a better version even. Thinking of artists and musicians, etc., express themselves. What do you in the chat think about romanticism? It is mentioned in Sophie's World, and I would certainly like to study it further. When you talk about romanticism, what kind of... Okay, so cross guard saber. We'll talk about that in just a second.
Try it out.
When you're talking about romanticism and your curiosity, I guess, specifically to it, is there a specific... Are you talking about just the entire movement? Are we talking about the original concept? Okay, so this is going to be crossguard is actually I real quick, I despise the crossguard design for anyone but Kylo, who cracked his crystal and has to let it vent, because if the blade makes its way in between one of the little blades and the big blade, you still chop the saber in half. But in terms of the game, it's basically treated like a claymore with weight to it, and I actually prefer it. Can I not use? Okay, I am just... Oh, I have it, though. It's already there. Okay, that's fine. The movement, yeah. Or did we lose sound? No, we didn't. Never mind. No, I was sorry. Let's sense this echo. So, I think the movement has a great amount of...
I'll go.
Hold on real quick, let's...
I'm the best pilot for this mission, and you know it.
We're locked out.
Every ship we've sent into the Abyss has vanished without a trace. We'll go together.
Okay.
I cannot let you take the risk alone.
This is your invention. No one else understands it. You're the only one who can guide me back.
From the dark side, there was something there.
All right. I'll record the passage and make sure you return to us.
Okay. Okay. Skill point acquired. Cool. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and start putting points in, because crossguard is my favorite form. It's very much more Dark Souls form, but it is my favorite form. So we're going to go to skills and lightsaber and crossguard. We're going to start with rending strike. And this is the only one I'm going to put, besides the obligatory point I had to put in single here. That's the only point I'm going to put in. That's the only point I'm going to put in anything besides crossguard and double blade. Yeah, so romanticism I think romanticism is nice as an art form. The movement itself, the I gotta get credit for this, but I will I'll talk through it this time.
I'll go.
Because it's supposed to go away.
I'm the best pilot for this mission, and you know it.
Yeah, as far as the movement goes, the idea was kind of the discard of logic and reason beyond, for the sake of appreciation of a person's emotions. And I think that romanticism as an art form is fine, right? So if you're going to painting with logic doesn't make a lot of sense, right? You end up with something that's going to look like boxes and squares and lines that make sense, but you're not really going to end up with the soul of a painting. The brush strokes aren't going to be unique. You're not going to, you're not going to have, the soul of the painting will not be captured. Yeah, then that's why I like crossguard. But as far as the intellectual portion of the movement, which was, we're talking about romanticism versus logic versus reason, it's great as an artist, but as a practical way of life, I think the greatest benefits that it affords are the appreciation of nature, the appreciation of art, the understanding that one might reason upon emotion without logic. I think those are things that we have to do, but I think it's for logic. The entire purpose of having a debate, a logical debate, is the discard. In a lot of cases, it's the discard of the emotional in favor of the truth. And that's generally because when we find, especially today, when we find somebody that's cross guard and double blade. There we go. When you're debating, if you're debating from a romanticist, from a romantic's perspective, you're not debating that which is, you're debating that which you wish were. And that's fine, but if the person is debating that which is, your arguments don't necessarily have a point where they might... Your arguments can technically coalesce, right? Which makes you a fairly ineffective debater. So I think the appreciation, I honestly do, I think the appreciation of nature, and I think that the utility we get in art and the inspiration we get from the romanticist's perspective, the romantic's perspective in the way that they've contributed to art is fantastic. But I think that was generally at the discard, accidental or otherwise, of reason and logic. And I think those things, you can't really discard those. You can, but if you do, I wouldn't recommend debating the reality of, objective reality with another individual.
Master Cordova said Dagon had a retreat on Kobo. Let's find it.
Okay, we found what we were looking for.
The abyss. Maybe we'll find it there.
Okay. Now we get to go to Kobo. That was good. I think we're gonna go and do Kobo. This was pretty short, so we're gonna go. I think we'll go ahead and go to Kobo. And Grease is gonna randomly end up there.
Where to next?
How much of the moon did we, in our short little time here, explore? Yeah, see, we explored a lot of the moon in a very short amount of time. Not all of it, but much more than we did in, like, Kobo.
Headed to Kobo? Drinks are on me! Actually, forget that last bit.
But yeah, that's my opinion. Like anyone that wants to be a romantic, wants to approach life as a romantic, I don't think that they are.
Go to Kobo after things fall apart. Not the.
How do I want to say this? I don't think that I don't think you should ever discard or kind of shrug off a person that wants to be a romantic. I think that that's beautiful, and there's a part of me that is too, where the way that I do my art isn't based on logic. It is based on the way, the brushstrokes are.
Buckle in, Cal. Time to land.
Are we already at Kobo? Okay, fair enough. That was quick. I think anyone, like, like I said, when I paint the way that I feel, or I paint in the way, like, the brush strokes are not based on logic so much as they're based on just how I feel that they're going to, and that's the thing about my paintings too. If you ever take a look at my paintings, if you ever have taken a look at my painting, you'll look at it.
Research shows an abandoned settlement past the east side of the valley. Let's go check it out.
Okay. You'll look at it and you'll see a suggestion of what you're meant to see more than you'll see the detail. There are details. I definitely put a lot of detail in it. But there's even just the suggestion of what I wanted you to see. And that, in most cases, is enough to force the eye to see what I wanted to. And so I'm painting with feeling. I'm painting assuming that I can make you see something that isn't there. It's really neat. Well, my philosophical monologue from Sophie's World when I dropped in here made me think about consciousness, the universe, and the nature of reality. In fact, the nature of reality feels more like a plot point of the book. Sure. Do people also misinterpret the definition of romantic? Because romantic is generally these days used to describe love, id est, two people in romance. Chocobos, I know, they look like chocobos, don't they? They aren't quite chocobos, but they're pretty darn close. They're really cute, though. I think a lot of people oversimplify romantic, right? Because I think a lot of people, when they understand romantic or romance, it is the feeling of, two people in love and this. But romanticism was a full-on movement, and I do think that people kind of relegate it strictly to a relationship, whereas to be romantic is also the philosophy. And I think that there's kind of an evidence of this if you look at, if you listen to, or watch the Disney cartoon Robin Hood. They're listening to a story, and they're saying, in the story, they're saying how romantic. That, I think, is a little bit more honest. It lends itself to that it's not just two people falling in love. It's also what they, it's the story, it's the leading up, it's the thing that inspires emotion, right? It's not just how you feel. It's something that helped you feel a particular way. Helped you feel as if something were... Can I make that jump? Helped you feel as if something were going in a particular way. Let's get up before I get knocked off. There we go. All right. It's bogus. Hey Rojo, sorry for not watching today's stream. I've been extremely busy and I'm probably going to sleep after this, but I wanted to ask if you'll be streaming tomorrow before going. I probably won't be streaming tomorrow, but it's okay. I mean, I was streaming today so that I've got a series of events that I have to do next week, and tomorrow I figured I was going to use as much time as I could to spend with the family and prep for that also if I have to, but it's okay. I mean, it's always a pleasure to get to see you when you do drop in. You're always welcome here. I'm sorry that we've missed each other a couple of times, but that's no worry. Let me rest. Let's see. And Bogus, you have a purple icon, least of all with the number 2. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know what the thing is. I don't know what happened there. I'm number 1. Now your icon says 1 and mine says 2. I don't understand. I have no idea. I'm sorry. I didn't activate anything new. It's just it was there when I started the stream up. I started the stream the same way I always do. I just set the tech up and then... Retro wouldn't want us fighting in the chat about who's the best. I'll probably be streaming again next weekend. I mean, I might do... If the week is kind to me and affords me any time off, I might stream, especially during the week, but probably next weekend. And it most likely will be... I've been trying to do it on Saturdays instead of Sundays, just because on Sunday it's a lot to set up and I lose a lot of time right before having to go straight back to working. But probably next week, and I'm again probably aiming for Saturday, but it could be Sunday, but I'll probably aim for Saturday. That'd be my attempt. No guarantee I'll be successful, but that'd be when I try. But yeah, no worries. I mean, it's always a pleasure. Again, it's always a pleasure just to have you come in and say hi and to get to catch up and see how you've been doing. So obviously, it's a pleasure to get to speak at length. But I obviously take no offense when you. I mean, you have a life to live, man. I get it. I don't. I've said this since the beginning. I don't play the game of call to action and how many numbers did I get. And I don't care. It's just I get to talk with good people, and if you stop in and say hi, it's always a pleasure to get to do it. So to get to talk. Here, we'll just get rid of you. Get rid of you. Oops. Make sure to schedule Sunday mornings instead of Monday mornings, and that includes you, Talkie Toast. When I dropped in here, there were no chat messages at all. I thought there was a glitch until I typed. No, it was just a slow... Like I said, it was just one of those slow things where it was like, Again, I'm never upset. I stream regardless of whether anyone shows up or not, just because I'm gonna play a game and have fun one way or the other. I hope people are available to come in and say hi and talk with me if they want to, but I don't take offense if I'm by myself just playing the game.
Well fought, but you are outmatched. This is my tower. What do you want?
The objective is just to it's just to have fun. I mean, that's kind of the thing. I think too many people have kind of... I think too many people have tried to turn, and this is a personal opinion, if you're someone who is in this box and you think that I'm wrong about it, perfectly understandable, but it's like, I think a lot of people have taken their hobbies and tried to make them careers. Oh, I want to play games and I gotta make money doing that. I want to... Hold on one second, let me beat this guy up. There we go. I've got to get called to action. I've got to tell you to... this, that, and the other. I've got, and it's like, for me, that loses the genuine of the experience, the genuine nature of the experience. The whole purpose is have fun. Like, I don't care if I make numbers or money or not. If something ever happened randomly and I did, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you, oh, I'd turn that away, but I would tell you that it would have to be predicated upon my... It would have to be predicated upon my being, getting to be natural, and getting to be candid. It couldn't be predicated upon... It couldn't be predicated upon false call to actions and having to say things that everybody wants to hear. It'd have to be on... Oops, sorry, I bumped the microphone. It'd have to be on things like... talking about how I actually feel about a thing. It's why if I ever got sponsorships, you probably, unless I really liked it, you probably wouldn't see me sponsored by like Raid Shadow Legends or whatever either. I don't want a sponsorship that I don't believe in. So it's why I probably will never monetize or make money off of any of this. And that's okay. That's not the purpose of it. I have a job. It's just for fun, just to talk. In fact, what were you talking about before I dropped in? Sometimes it might be, say, I'm an hour late, and you were talking about consoles and gaming or something. Then we were talking about live and how weird live spelled backwards. Nice. We were talking about the 200 subscriber celebration. Live spelled backwards. Philosophers. I'm sorry. Get onto that right away. No, in the brief moment, I think I will go ahead and go back over it. What I was talking about. I need to see which direction I need to go. No, I was talking about originally. I had a conversation last month with some of the people in the chat, and I was talking about how people give other people excuses to stop caring about things that may be important to them. And so, for example, in June, that would be Pride Month. There are people that are... Can I go around? Let's try. Let's turn it this way. There, that'll do. That'll do. That almost perfectly worked. And my thing is, if you make it an event, people will find an excuse to forget about it when it's no longer an event. And I think that that's also true for yesterday, which was the 4th of July. A lot of stuff is going around, a lot of stuff is going on in America right now that I'm not proud of. A lot of people are involved in doing and making choices about America that I'm not proud of. But I am still very proud to be American. Let's get rid of that. And I wanted... I wanted people to kind of look at not attempting to relegate things that they believe are worth preservation and pride to specific events and people that don't have anything to do with them. Like, if you are a part of LGBTQ, then June isn't just your month. You are just as much that same identity in July. You are just as much that in August. So why are you giving people permission to forget about you in July? You're saying, okay, June is my month, but then July isn't. And that can be a problem. The same thing is applicable for the same thing can be applicable for the 4th of July, for Independence Day. It's like, we look for excuses. Oh, I don't like the president. Oh, I don't like this guy. Oh, I don't like this guy. Okay. And then it's, oh, I can't be proud to be American because these people are making America terrible. They are. Some people are. I'm not naming names, but some people are. But that's not what America is these people that will pass. And likely older people that are, I don't want them to, I'm not wishing death upon them, but they are older. A lot of those people will pass on, not just as their term limits, not just as they hit term limits, but also just because they're older.
Right here, BD.
And they will actually pass on. And it's like, that isn't the representation of everything that is America. I thought I pushed that one. Okay. And then I have a meditation circle right in the middle of everything. So that was kind of what my big thing was about. Is not if. Wait, hold on. Do you know this? Wait, hold on. I've missed on some stuff here. Uh-oh. I have to go to sleep. It was nice talking to you guys for a bit before sleep, and I hope. Oh yeah, no, I hope so too. But yeah, have a good rest. It was a pleasure getting to talk with you. Do you know that backwards spelled backwards is if forwards, but if you spell backwards forwards, you have to is not if I'm tired. Good Lord, that's hard to read. But if we look forwards, like say a telescope looking up at the universe, are we seeing many hours in the past with a light year or a star? You are seeing over a distance of time. That's true. Jargon philosophical. That was what fans. War star biggest is retro is the biggest star. Okay, I got perhaps I don't know. I have some friends that are pretty up there. Did you know the average hippocampus dreams only 8 hours of its life? Huh? Hippopotamus, not hippocampus. I was thinking of the brain. Hippopotamus dreams only 8 hours. If that's true, that's crazy. Okay, yeah, as I say, bears actually read all of Stephen's. Depends on what you mean by bears. I don't know. Perhaps this is true existence. It's a white crow on top of a black crow. Oh yeah, the floating image. We keep on questioning. Ants can actually tap dance. They're just not big enough for us to see with a human eye. Fun fact. No, it's a point of view of a human being, Ash, at the moment, and it's just a good point of view. I think bears can actually read all of Stephen King's works. There is the monkey Shakespeare analogy. In 1812, they sent a sloth to Thailand, and they actually won a Muay Thai championship. Fun fact. That'd be funny. We've been calling this... No, hippocampus. No, I said hippocampus because when you say dreaming, I'm thinking of the brain. Hippopotamus is the animal. Hippocampus is a part of the brain. So that was my mistake. Very nice. All right. So I'm probably not going to use this meditation spot because... There are people. Look at that. That thing is probably going to pop out a whole bunch of droids. That's what it was meant to do originally, at least. It was an Englishman called Cipolle. What's crazy is he wasn't even English. He was Italian. I mean, all these fun facts made up, but But anyway, yeah. So just real quick, to answer your question, that was my point. What I was talking about is just don't give yourself excuses. My ask, obviously, do what you want to. You're an adult, but my ask is don't give yourself excuses based on other people's failings to not be proud or of what you are. All right. If you're upset at America for having certain people that you disagree with in office, perfectly fair. Don't be less proud to be American. You can not be proud of that person for certain, or those people, but don't lose pride in the things that we do well and the things that you would be proud to do for other people.
It's locked.
Because based upon things that you believe are supposed to be American. And being proud to be American isn't like that's not pride to be. I'm gonna die. Let's do this so I don't die.
I don't think so.
Doesn't matter what you think. Okay, I thought I was gonna die. Fiddy's a character in Sophie's World. People are annoyed at not just Trump. Like a lot of other people. We did have a bill pass recently, or a bill that passed Congress that's not good. It's not going to do a lot of stuff, and a lot of people looked at it's not going to do a lot of good, and a lot of people were upset because there were people that came by and basically said that they were promised certain things by Trump, and then that he delivered them, or he was going to deliver them all, but they were going to have heavy stipulations that were negative, which is technically true. But I'm not just talking about him. I'm talking about there are a lot of people. Currently, my state's dealing with different bills that have been trying to regulate or limit what people's consumer abilities should be about certain products. And it's like that shouldn't be any of your business. The state's currently fighting because they believe China is so much of an enemy. They're currently trying to regulate. You can't buy things that'll have a battery made in China. And it's like I get it. You want more things to be made in America because you're worried about China having an economic stronghold or whatever. But currently, we get a lot of our goods from China because they're really good at making decent quality products for reasonable prices at really, really fast speeds. There's nothing wrong with being willing to have a good partnership with people that can do that. If we can't, well, shoot. Yep, I didn't mean to fall in there. This is the hardest. That's the hardest boss fight in the whole thing, by the way. I'll be honest, I sort of wasn't sure when I talked online with someone recently. It was nothing political, but it was about liking or wanting something that wasn't, shall we say, the norm, making me think, really, why would someone want that? I don't talk, yeah, that's fair, about certain products. Wait, where's my Switch 2? Also, is not looking at the, there'll be a DK bundle, least of all because Mario Kart's a big sell. I'm excited for Donkey Kong. Oh, I don't need this. Yeah, I don't need this. Yeah, so far I'm excited for Donkey Kong Country to come out. I have enjoyed the Switch 2 quite a bit, though. So I have to ask, Viddy, what was the thing that they said they wanted that you were curious about, or that you were concerned about, I guess? This is just a mess. When you hear that little pew, that means somebody shot the stem out of my hand. Where did he go? Okay. I'm not sure if I could say. I'll just leave my story at that. Drugs wasn't drugs, and no, I intend not to go all 20 questions at the moment. Well, I mean, if it's up to you. It's not something that you have to share if you want to, but there's no. I'm not censorious on the channel. If you're saying something to be, blatantly bad, then obviously I'm gonna probably put a stop to that. But if you're talking about a topic, if you're talking about a contentious topic, that's not a problem. It would, to be censorious would go, to be censorious about things like that would be to go against the fundamentals of what I believe should be appropriate. You can discuss things with nuance without having to censor everything. Where'd my little bird friend go? Oh, there he is. That does go into one of the things that I think is really oh, there's another rope down. I didn't even know that. That does go into another thing that I think a lot of people YouTube people, it's become apparently you can't say kill. You have to say unalive. You have to say, that frustrates the heck out of me. You can't say, come on. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, you're in YouTube. You're not supposed to say kill. You're supposed to say unalive. You're not supposed or die. You can't even say that. It can't be kill or die. It's got to be unalive. You can't say gun. You have to say pew. It's like no. This is. I'm gonna say what the thing is. I don't understand why die or kill would be bad words. I don't understand why gun would be a bad word. If I were brandishing a gun out in the open, yeah, I can understand why you wouldn't want me doing that, but if I use the word gun, couldn't even begin to ask or figure that logic out. That's one of those things that does. I am going to go and meditate here. That is one of those things that absolutely bothers me. That type of censoriousness is absolutely useless.
All right, let's go.
Okay, I've got to so I've wandered. I died there. I've wandered off the path. I got to go back. Okay. Let's see. It was how all they think that I don't know if anyone thinks all English people should. So American English doesn't exist. Goodness me, what is that reality? In fact, is the fact that Bogus and I in Retro are only seeing purple light. Yeah. No, that's an objective, at least based upon what we can see. Those enemies don't want you to say. You can't say enemies in games being interesting. I don't know what you're talking about, and I'm not really offended. I can't see it. Yeah, I'm actually offended. I can't see it. Yeah, you can't. I don't know what it is. What browser are you on? It must be some sort of national allegiance against this. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it's just a browser thing then. It could be only visible on a computer. It's probably. Is it an icon with a number next to it depending on how many times you people... I guess so. I don't know. I don't know what the number is based upon. Vidi got moved to number 2 after Bogus, but I don't know. what the thing is. But anyway, my point is I don't like the. I mean, again, if you're censoring because you're uncomfortable, Viddy, then that's perfectly okay. Obviously, I'm not gonna push the topic, but I am very anti-censor. If you're thinking, oh, I don't think I should say it because it might get you in trouble, and I don't care. If YouTube opts to censor things because it makes them uncomfortable, that doesn't change that they should still be. You should still be able to say them. Okay, I'm gonna down below, yeah. Can I not make... Okay. Well, it was when I fell off due to the intense lack of... I mean, there was something down there I should have been able to land, but oh well. We'll just take this. That'll do.
We should be getting pretty close. I don't see anything like a settlement, though.
I'll take my British pounds elsewhere. Maybe I'm not good enough. No. But what confuses me... not here, though. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Technically, Ash should actually be number 1 or 2 based on how many times... yeah, I don't know. Okay, so I did see a chest when I fell down here. I believe over here. So we're going to take a peek. I thought I saw a chest over here. Maybe I saw it above. Did I... I could have sworn I saw a...
Let's do it.
Chest. Okay, I guess maybe not. Alright. Where are we going? Okay, we're going... Where are we going? Down here? Okay.
Let's move.
Very nice. And then the bird disappears. Igneous fissure. All right. Maybe we have to fight each other to the death to become number 1 mod and own other rights to stream. I mean, modding rights to the stream. I mean, money. I like how that degraded into. I mean what I mean. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and rest here in the base of the igneous fissure, and then boop. But yeah, that's the. But anyway, to kind of base things off of what you were saying just there, Viddy. What people want, like I don't care about.
There's places in ruins.
Let me hit this gust of air here.
Bounty hunter.
Okay.
And Brew tracked us down.
Oh, well, we're fine. I gotta figure out what the strategy for this guy is. I'm just gonna hit the so hitting you hurts. Getting to you is the hard part. Come on. Oh, he got me with the that was a good way to go about it, I guess. What truly is the number? Who decided the number 1 refers to win? Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I made a comment that if you I had made this comment before where if you vacated the entire world and then you opted to have a person who facetiously wrote a book that did all mathematics correctly but replaced got rid of the number 1 and only used the numbers 0, 2 all the way up to the infinite number, but did math as if 2 were 1, then the number 2 would mean the same thing as 1 means now. Let's get back for a second. Touch the thing, Cal. Thank you.
So quick. Just a scratch.
Okay, 1 second. He's faster on the trigger than Cal is on the saber.
Another.
That'll do it. Okay. I never knew you could play games on a Wii. Yeah, you can play it on the old Wii. That's I used it a lot for upscaling because I have an HDMI to Wii. The first Star Wars film technically had a number 1, and they did. Yeah.
The outpost.
Cal. Sounds like you've been watching us.
We've all been watching, Cal. Not every newcomer introduces themselves by...
I'm number 1 again, bogus. I beat you. It's not... I was gonna say, yeah.
Nice touch. Love a big entrance.
Thanks. So what do you want?
What I want, Cal, is to reward you for every one of these that you take down. Not the only one who came to Kobo for a little peace and quiet. Take these off, bounty hunters.
So we have an Australian accented Nautilin.
Something nice.
First fun fact, George Lucas wanted to call it the first Star Wars. Issue was that back in '76, Samuel Jackson wanted a turquoise lightsaber. No, it was originally supposed to have a different name, though. It was originally like The Adventures of Luke Skywalker or something from the Journal of the Wills. WHILLS.
I'll think it over.
Let's see. The answer is not 42. In fact, people have, with validity, tried to analyze the significance in mathematics of 42, but realistic Douglas Adams just chose a random number. Yeah. It's a bunch of numbers, namely 1s and 2s on screen. Sure. I enjoy mathematics, right? I do like them, but I also understand that there is a... Mark Hamill seems mental nowadays, by the way. It depends on what you're talking about. I listened to an interview about what he believed on Star Wars. Specifically, his thoughts on Episode 8. What are you going to say, Cage?
So you didn't feel like helping me out there?
For free? I don't think so.
Okay. Politically, sure. He's decided to be more political than I would prefer.
View the planet and everything connected. Then reach out.
think there. I felt it.
Just so. Very good, Padawan.
Okay, there we go. I think in terms of politically speaking, sure. I don't prefer to mix entertainment with politics, and like that's why I'm not specifically entering politics. It's like, or not specifically talking about politics. I'm talking about being proud to be who you are despite politics. That's exactly what I'm speaking on. But with his opinions, I was really sad. I was listening to kind of an interview about how he had such large disagreements with The Last Jedi, and it's like, yeah, this poor guy actually had a great vision, and it was like he for what he wanted Luke Skywalker to be, and he was just completely let down. He even came up with like this backstory for Luke turning his back on the Jedi, where it was like basically having a son or a daughter and a wife who had taken their life as a result of different Force teachings and stuff. As a result of the kid accidentally killing himself with the lightsaber, and then the wife taking her own life because she couldn't bear the loss of the child. And it's like he had to do some stretching to get through to that logic. What the heck? He had to do some stretching to get there, but that was how that was the only by having that headcanon could he get himself to come to that place as Luke Skywalker. And I'm like, all right, I get it. Star Wars characters have a price for helping. Goodness me. Cage is a wanted woman. Yeah, okay, there, I see what I need to do. And a bounty hunter herself, so I think I see what I need to do. Can you not grab onto those? There it is. Okay, 1 second. I heard him talk about his dumb idea for the film. It was basically his dumb idea for the films was basically a commentary on gun control. Yeah, and that's where I don't. It doesn't matter who it is. I don't like the idea of mixing. And I've said this before. Like, I don't mind. Obviously, you're always going to have fiction mirror reality to some degree, but let it be deeper than that. I've talked about this with Star Wars, and I've talked about this with The Witcher, and I'll talk with both of them, right? So, if you're looking for deeper meaning in Star Wars, in the case of how do I want to say this? In the case of Star Wars, it's kind of the thought of the inverse of the current existence. Today, religion rules a lot. Technology solves some. What happens in a world where the opposite is true? Technology has almost answered everything, but religion does actually answer some of those questions. Like the Force is objectively a religious thing, but it's also quantifiable. You can see it. The Witcher's the same thing. It's what do you do about a mutant who kills monsters when you find that the monsters are actually just creatures that live naturally in their own habitat, and that the humans are more barbarous than any of the quote unquote monsters in most cases. Those are the kinds of things to invoke. But talking about how we need gun control and talking about how we need to be inclusive about this and that. No, write a good story. Write the story about something, and then, write a good story about it. And then if the topic makes sense and the story is good, then people will pick up the meaning. I've seen his disagreements about episode 8. Now, though, yeah, I've seen those. Similar to Henry Cavill about Geralt in The Witcher. Yeah, and I've watched this. I've started watching the series. I can say season 1, pretty decent. Following the books a little bit, not perfect, but some creative liberties, nothing terrible. The Centron Raid, Dooney, and then I saw the last episode, and it's like they made Yennefer the hero of Sodden In the books, that's not her. She's not the hero. As a matter of fact, mages are not generally combat trained. They're not good at that. Vilgefortz is the hero of Sodden in the books, and rightfully so. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but Vilgefortz is the hero of Sodden in the books. He's the one that saves everybody. So, I wouldn't call him a poor guy, though. The guy still agreed to play the role again and portray that awful version of him and get millions. I mean, he did. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm talking about in terms of writing the character. I mean, I don't think most people would turn down that. There's not a moral initiative there. Like, there's not a good guy, bad guy thing. When I say poor guy, I mean that they misrepresented his character. I'm not talking about being upset because, like, I don't think that I don't think it's a moral thing. Like, I don't think you're more or less moral for taking the role or not taking the role. Because it is a fictitious character at the end of the day. As much as I love Star Wars, it's fiction. And it's easily overwritten by headcanon and previous canon in my mind than it is by anyone else. So when I say poor guy, it's that they decided to do his character so poorly in this way. I don't feel bad about him making money, but at the same time, that's not a moral dilemma. That's not a moral dilemma. Understood the character in the series, but nope, studios. No, that's true. And same thing with Henry. Like, Henry still chose to play the role for 3 seasons. He still made all the money, but he left on principle. It's not a moral or immoral decision because it is still fiction. Or perhaps specifically the fandom that can get fairly heated. Of course, yeah. The Bromlick staring at me is freaking me out off with it. Yeah, no, the Bromlicks are not fun. I don't like them. Should I watch The Witcher show or just stick to the books and maybe later games? No, books and games. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about the series. Hey, Fighting Max, how are you doing? Hope you're doing well. You're number 3. That's it. I'm calling YouTube. Just popping in to say hi. Have a fun stream. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope you have a good day as well. Ash needs his. Yeah, I don't know why he's not getting it.
Nice job.
I don't see. Again, it's not a moral thing. Like, it's not Henry Cavill being treated poorly on the set. If that were the case, that would be a moral dilemma, but it's not a moral dilemma for him to be, in my opinion, it wouldn't be a moral dilemma for him to say, I don't like the way that Geralt is there and I've just kept, it's really more or less, do I want to do what right by, or do I want to do right by the fans, or do I feel like that this is right by the fans? And I think in that case, the answer is that Henry Cavill decided, yes, I'm going to try and do right by the fans, whereas Mark Hamill was like, well, I'm going to be there for Luke, but, whatever happens, happens. They don't appreciate my British pounds. So that when I say poor guy, it is kind of in the same way as the Henry Cavill piece. It's like that they wrote someone that he enjoyed so much so poorly. But not in terms of that he was...
Something here. Think it could be Dagon?
Not necessarily in the way that, like, he was mistreated or anything specifically. I need a ball to go there. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the... Okay, I'm just going to assassinate him, because he was paying no attention. Why is it not allowing me to hit him? Like, it looked like my saber is going through him.
Is that Centauri Kree?
Okay. I find it funny when an actor has no problem taking the job again and getting that overpaid dollar, but constantly complains about their portrayal. Well, I mean, it's the same thing as a person who goes to work and complains about their job, but still goes to work. It's just a different opportunity. Again, I'm not crying over the... Give me that.
Learn to harness Kobo matter in order to prepare yourself to traverse the abyss.
This is basically a companion cube. I know what this is.
Find an ever greater connection to the Force.
Give me that.
Let your connection with the Force guide you towards our
the
Tanalor.
Centauri Kree was training Jedi for the journey through the abyss.
The amount of the paycheck obviously differs greatly, and I don't disagree, but it's the same thing as when people go to work and they work for years, but they complain about their jobs.
You have somewhere to be. Very well.
I think Luke is terrible in the newer movies. I agree 100% that he should have gone in a different direction. I just have zero sympathy for actors, I guess, portrayal. Yeah, well, it's because of the amount that they make, right? And I don't disagree, again, with having lack of sympathy for the amount that an actor is making if they're making this ridiculous, this huge amount. I get it. But at the same time, it is the same principle of a person complaining about their job in one way versus a person complaining about their job in another. Okay, I know that this is... That's the matter right there. And I know this melts that. I have to... No. My point is just more about the woe is me actors than a regular guy at a job, which is, I mean, that's fair. Again, I think the difference that a lot of people count in it is the amount of money, which is absolutely a ridiculous amount of money. But again, I'm not going to feel super sorry for somebody, I cry for billionaires type of thing. But at the end of the day, too, it's also actors get paid a lot of money because people pay a lot of money for it. I mean, we're as much in that regard as much as I hate it. We're as much the problem as anyone else because we're for whatever reason we're okay. I don't understand why, but for whatever reason, we are okay. Paying people that kind of money for that kind of a job. Really? It's the same thing with politicians. Like, I think people that should make the most money are people that have the most important jobs in terms of, like, healthcare providing and, doctors, teachers, people like that. But for whatever reason, humanity has decided that it's appropriate to incentivize action and people acting and actors doing that versus, so it's like, I don't feel bad for people that make billions of dollars, obviously, because they're making billions of dollars in that way, but it's also like, to some extent, they're just doing the exact same thing everybody else has, and we've decided for whatever reason we're going to pay them exorbitant amounts more, which we should not be doing.
Think we can ride that updraft across?
Probably. It is portrayal, not portrayal. What are you all talking about? My point is just, yeah, okay. What George R. R. Martin says, he's 75% done with his next book. I thought he would never finish it. Also, not just actors, don't forget writers, and how audiences. But I honestly think a writer should be paid more than an actor because I think that literacy is an important thing, more so than watching. The ability to watch a show is not as valuable as the ability to read a book. It's why when you go to school, you're taught how to read, but not how to watch. And I think that's perfectly reasonable. Okay, what do we... Whoa, there was a thing there, but it didn't let me grab onto it.
Use some help, buddy.
Yeah, I was say Andrei Sapkowski, speaking of Witcher, right? He wrote his other book. It came out last November in Poland. It is... There's a... Oh, it's not. Huh. There was a... He wrote his... book Crossroad of Ravens came out last November in Poland. Why? Where am I supposed to go here? And it's coming out in. It came out last November, I guess, in Poland, and it's coming out in English this September. I'm very excited about it. It's very good. This will be very good. Actors are unbelievable. Yeah, I know, but we get upset about it, and I don't disagree. But it's like we're just as much a part of that problem. We've chosen to pay the people. We've chosen to support people being paid. We've chosen to support people being paid ridiculous amounts of money for stupid things. And it's like, we just stop giving our money to that kind of stuff if we can. But people are so interested in being entertained that they're willing to become a part of the problem. And I'm not disagreeing and saying I'm not a part of that problem either. I try to be less of part of that problem, but it's like it's part of that cycle. We've got to be entertained, and so since we've got to be entertained, we're gonna. It's the same thing with this. Like, I don't like Electronic Arts, but I bought this game, so Electronic Arts is going to continue to make billions of dollars, despite the fact that I detest their practices. Because the alternative was to not have this game, which I could have done, but most people aren't willing to. And I wasn't, to some extent, willing to either. I also like Respawn Entertainment, though. They've kind of made it very difficult to support something that you love without supporting something that you hate. That's also a problem. That is, again, we could probably say that we should have more restraint and just not support any of it, even the stuff we like, but it's like, they have kind of made it intrinsic that you have to support something you hate in order to support stuff you love now.
Hey, buddy.
There we go. Got them both.
Welcome, Jedi. In each world the Republic reaches out to, there are new opportunities to share and learn. And this planet has much to teach us.
Okay, I want this though.
Centauri.
Come here. What is this? Oh, it's an echo. How do I get up there? It is not an echo. It is a door. It's a switch.
Wonder what secrets this place is hiding.
Then again, is the doctor really a doctor? Well, not quite. And don't forget celebrity culture. Oh my gosh, we stand that actor. I don't know what that means. I've heard that phrase before, but I don't know what that means. I remember seeing an article saying something along the lines of Robert De Niro's agent says De Niro only made $40 million this year only. Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. But you also have, and again, I'm not going to defend that at all because I don't agree with it.
It's overgrown.
You have something called lifestyle inflation, right? Lifestyle inflation is when you make more money and therefore you're you start making larger purchases, and the larger purchases start to eat up. It's kind of like time dilation, or not time dilation, that's a scientific one. Time inflation. You can oh, here we go. I'm not going to be able to open it because it's probably sealed shut with Kobo matter, right? Oh no, never mind, I got it. It's like time inflation. Sometimes the things that you're going to do are going to take up the amount of time that you have, even if they're not meant to. Okay.
We believe Kobo matter originates from deep within the abyss.
This was kind of a cool little puzzle element, I thought.
Enigmatic, but not beyond our ability to study and manipulate. Like all things, once
Neat
understood,
trick, buddy.
it can be channeled and thus controlled.
That's cool. Let me change my mic stand.
Is that how Dagon made it to Tanalorr?
A lot of people love that only. A lot of people would love that only money. Yeah, sure. Wait, it's a different book? Yeah. Not another entry in the Witcher series? No, it's an entry in the Witcher series. It's called The Crossroad of Ravens. It is a prequel to all of the books. So I'd recommend reading probably The Last Wish first, because it's short stories that kind of give you an idea of what Geralt is, and Yennefer and Dandelion, or Buttercup, depending on your translation. But then, yeah, Crossroad of Ravens is probably a good idea. Cycles keep on counting, philosophically speaking, in the films with a big name. Actors will continue to be... Yep, sure. Speaking of game developers, I'm not entirely well-versed on what's happening, but Microsoft Rare discussion, am I right? The makers of the people behind... Well, it depends on where you're going with it, right? The makers of the Spyro What did I do here? The makers of the Spyro Crash Bandicoot games have stated interest in the Banjo-Kazooie game coming, and because of the I guess because of all of the different stuff that Microsoft's been doing, there's more of a chance of that happening, because now apparently the Rare division is, a lot of the team members from the Rare division are going to be able to join other teams, and apparently Microsoft is trying to sell off things because they're trying to make ends meet, and apparently they've asked for people to cancel their Game Pass memberships to support the developers, which I found interesting. It's an interesting play. So in that regard, I would argue that, Ash, you're right there. That's a joke. But
The Republic and the Jedi Order can understand the mysteries of the galaxy and harness them for the greater good. The Force guides our path.
But in all honesty, they're playing the same game everybody else is playing.
Destroyed by a catastrophe. Sometimes
Yeah.
it feels like history just repeats itself.
No, that's exactly what history does. But they're playing the same game everybody else is playing. Make more money, make more friends. If you've got to make ends meet at the end of the year, lay people off. So, I don't know what it means either. I'm just using a hypothetical. Oh yeah, that's fair. All people still hoping for a Banjo-Kazooie game. Yeah, and I would hope for one too. Apparently, Phil Spencer talked about how they're making more money and are more successful ever in the same exact email where he announces all the layoffs. Yeah, they are. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. They're more wealthy because they laid off all those people that they don't have to pay,
Talking of their dreams.
and they're trying to use it for AI, which I detest that. I'm not happy about.
Yes, Master.
Everybody's going in that direction, and I don't like that at all. I don't like the AI specific direction. Xbox will never make a new Banjo game ever. It's not happening. Even if it did, I don't trust the talent they have to execute on it. That's fair. Well, I've already read The Last Wish, and it's great. Oh yeah, well then good. The Crossroad of Ravens comes out. Crossroad of Ravens comes out in September, so I've already got my copy. Pre-ordered because I'm very excited about it, and I've heard from Polish fans that it is pretty good. By pretty good, I mean really good. So I don't know how to get that. Banjo needs to either be sold to Nintendo or Playtonic. Playtonic. It does not need to go back to Nintendo right now. Nintendo is not the same Nintendo, in my opinion. I remember... I think Nintendo kind of stopped being the Nintendo that I loved as much when Satoru Iwata passed. The Switch came out 2 years after, and it was still his brainchild, and he was... I mean, that's the thing. Satoru Iwata. Same thing with... Miyamoto. These guys are guys that actually play video games. Like these, they're not necessarily. I wouldn't necessarily know if I'd call them gamers, but they are video game players. And I think, can I get that ball from here? I should be able to, right? Wait. Can I? Hold on. I'm gonna see if I can smash this out of that. Probably not. Nope. But yeah, the guys that are running Nintendo now are business guys, and that maybe they'll make something cool, but probably not. The Switch 2 is fine, but the Switch 2, and again, the Switch 2, it doesn't need to be. It's like I was saying before, it doesn't need to be all that different from the Switch 1, but it's the game, the policies and the procedures that they're going through. You can definitely tell that this is a very business orientated group of people. This is not a group of people who are interested in making games fun. This is a group of people who are interested in making games lucrative. Despite the fact that I think that the Donkey Kong Country game will be fantastic. It was almost going to be a $90 game. I'm not angry at Nintendo, but I don't necessarily know I would trust them with things that I really love, because I feel like that's the best possible chance of me becoming angry with them. And I'd rather not if I can help it. Toys for Bob would do an incredible job. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with that. This rocks, but what is what we're saying? Set in stone? Could be. Depends on if you believe in predetermination theories. The theory of no free will because of you always having been a result of, again, things done a priori yourself, which is probably true. Yeah, I think Toys for Bob is a... I think you're right. That's a fantastic choice. It's really... The crossguard's really nice because you just smash through attacks. You just... through their blocks in a lot of cases. Whoa. Okay, hold on. I'm going to take a look at things real quick. I just had seen some things over here. They confirmed DK is the Odyssey team. It looked like it was.
It is not our place to question.
But that's the problem is that Nintendo's kind of doing the same thing Microsoft is doing, where there are teams that work really closely with Microsoft that make good games. Since you're not paying attention. There are teams that work with Microsoft that are really good. Microsoft themselves may not be. It's the same kind of thing with Nintendo. It's like there are teams that work under, and they still work under the name of Nintendo, but if they worked over the Nintendo kind of corporate oversight, which they didn't, it's specific teams that they kind of build out. It's the same basic premise. Again, Xbox is doing a lot of stuff I like. Microsoft's doing some stuff I like in the industry, but they're costing a lot of people their livelihoods too, and that's not something I'm excited about. Like, I don't care, like, the bringing games that were console exclusives over to other consoles, like Helldivers 2 coming to Xbox and Gears of War going to PlayStation, cool with that. Again, when I was playing my first consoles, that was how things were. It was not mutually exclusive.
Enemies of peace threaten
God dang it.
the galactic frontier and our republic. Once we cross the abyss, Tanalor could be a bastion to repel that threat. A beacon for hope and justice across the Outer Rim.
Tanalor was more than a mission to Earth. It was a dream of a better
Doesn't fit. God dang it. Okay, well. Yeah, so like the idea of games being cross-compatible like that and not having as many exclusives, I'm actually okay with, just because, again, that's how things were when I was playing. Like I said, you could plug a friggin' Sega Genesis controller into an Atari 2600 and play it, and that's fine. So like that part of things I don't have a problem with. A lot of people, I think, that kind of, they're like, oh no, it used to be Nintendo or Sega and that was it. And it's like, okay, but before that, there was a time where that wasn't the case and things worked out fine. There was video gaming crash because there was such an what does this say? There was such a movement, caution. That's all. There was such a movement against video games in general because people didn't understand video games at the time that caused a crash, and then Nintendo came back and said, well, let's make it easy. But beyond that, it was like, I've never had a problem with exclusives, but I get the argument. I find they add appeal to individual platforms. They do, but again, the people that... there we go. They definitely do, but the problem, I guess, that I have is that a lot of people... they want their console purchase to be justified. But the problem with it is that happens regardless. Like, your console purchase... that happens regardless. Your console purchase, you're going to buy the thing that appealed to you the most. But at the same time, like, what about people that can't? What about people that really wanted to play God of War and Gears of War? Well, those people can't do it now because they can't afford both consoles, so they have to pick one. And it's like, there's not really an obvious choice in some cases. So I think it's going to make gaming more accessible to people that don't have the money to buy all consoles, which I think is a good thing. I want gaming to be more accessible to more people. I think it's a good thing. Precision, nice. Okay. Yeah, I want consoles. There's another. I want more people to be able to play more games.
I came as fast as I could. My master is insistent.
Well, you don't have to worry about that. Not back here.
Okay, what do we have? We can get up here. Is it just because we can search around? Is it just for the ambiance, maybe? Yeah, but anyway, that's my thing. I do think it's one of the. I think that's kind of, it's one of the more, I don't know, simple, where it's like, you know. I saw a Pride theme post on Anna's TikTok, and this is from someone who rarely is on there. Yeah, I think she put up her makeup look for Pride. I believe so. Posted, yeah, because that would have been, yeah, probably so. I believe she did a makeup look. Whoops. Okay, hold on. Yeah, I think that might be what that was about. Is that she did a makeup look. Come on. Is there not supposed to be a way to use this to turn this that way? Or am I just supposed to trace this all the way there? There's no way. I don't have enough. But yeah. There are a lot of things that I agree. I think Microsoft is just being ridiculous about, and then there are things where I'm like, it's fine. Biggest complaints that they have are the layoffs towards AI, which I am completely 100% in agreement that that's ridiculous. Biggest disagreement is console exclusives are getting moved, or Game Pass. That's fine. I'm okay with those. Game Pass is in my opinion, Game Pass is worth it to figure out what developers I don't want to support. Not because of political reasons, but because the game is not good. I've played a fair amount of games on Game Pass where the game wasn't very good, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this, so... I just wish I had a reason to buy an Xbox, but I don't anymore. I know it's subjective and all that, but I want to entice me with games, and now those games are available elsewhere. There's no reason, but that's the beautiful thing, is there's no reason, there shouldn't be any reason to buy one. And that's what I like, is if you own a console and you don't have a lot of money, you don't have to have a reason to buy that console anymore. For most people, gaming is expensive. I mean, gaming is, $500, $600 a console. And you're having to buy 2 or 3 of those consoles in the span of, a year or so if you want to play all the stuff. And so you don't buy it immediately, and then you end up with a huge backlog, and you complain, not you specifically, of course, but people in general. They complain that they've got this huge backlog and they're never going to get through it, which has definitely been something we've heard a lot of complaint about recently, is just being inundated with games. And then the other side of it is, well, I don't have the money to afford to be able to play this game that I want to be able to play. And so it's kind of like it's a matter of pick the poison, where it's like, now you can pick the game strategically and only have to pay the one console for the one console. I don't want a reason to have to buy another console. As a matter of fact, if arguably I can play all of the games on one console, fine. Like if I could play them all on Xbox or all on PlayStation, I'm happy with that. I'm just gonna buy my one console, and may the best actual console win. Nintendo's always going to be an outlier. You're always going to have to buy a Nintendo if you want to play a Nintendo game, I'm pretty sure. I don't see that going away, at least anytime soon. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Who knows? My history with Xbox mostly wanted an Xbox as a teen just to play Halo. Played Xbox and 360 at other people's places and got an Xbox 360 from an old friend who didn't want it anymore. Yeah, the original Xbox versus the PS2, I actually prefer the original Xbox. Xbox 360 versus PS3, I definitely prefer the 360. Xbox One versus PS4, I actually prefer the PS4. Xbox versus PS5, such an equal or even race for me that it just depends on the type of game. That's the only thing that I can say, is it depends on the type of game. I generally prefer platformers on the PlayStation 5, and generally prefer shooters. Generally prefer shooters on the Xbox. I can't make it. Yeah, I get it. I just don't agree. I'm not a fan. I like individual consoles. I actually don't want everything on one system. I find it depressing. I don't. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's depressing for the industry. It's people are still going to have the jobs. It's just now people can play the games. Like it makes the. I want people to obviously have as many jobs as possible, and so in that regard, I agree with you. Like it's definitely It's definitely going to consolidate some jobs. It's going to create some redundancies where people don't need... I don't know what the heck I'm supposed to be doing with... I need that ball. I just don't know where the heck I'm supposed to be... how I'm supposed to be melting this away yet. It's definitely going to create some job redundancies, which I think that's the worst part of it. For the gamer, again, I think it's a good thing. But as far as the industry, I wouldn't say it's depressing for the industry, because again, that could equal... more sales for, like, I don't know, maybe people are buying 2 copies and 3 copies of a game like I might in some cases. Maybe that is actually happening, but I don't think so. I think people are having to pick what they can buy on it. And again, it's more and more expensive. Not everybody, I mean, we're very fortunate if we can afford all of the consoles. We have to, I mean, I think we should look at ourselves as incredibly fortunate if we can actually afford to buy all of the consoles, because I know several people who can't. They work just like everybody else, but they can't even afford them. And it's like, okay, now you have a chance to not have to afford everything. So, again, not a problem. I get it. I get where people I get where people like what they've seen, like. Especially people that grew up in the, like, Genesis does what Nintendo don't era. I get that. Like, it's that's the form factor it's always been in. But again, before that, it wasn't that. It was, and the depression of it was really just people's lack of understanding of gaming. It wasn't the lack of availability. So it's like, all right. So I need to be able to get this. Even if I couldn't afford all the consoles, so I wouldn't care. I would pick the one that appeals to me the most and enjoy it. I wouldn't complain all day about not having access to a game. And that's good. That's a reasonable stance. But it's also not one that most people hold. Most people are upset that they are legitimately upset and vocally upset about the fact that they can't afford things. I find gamers are never happy. That's true of that's true of just about everybody, though. I can't be unfair in that. I think that's just true of humans. We've become so convenient that we're complacent over the smallest things. And most of it, I mean, that's just... I need to be able to get that. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but it's at the same time, that's just humanity. We get... Everything is so convenient nowadays. We're gonna complain if it's too hot, too cold, it's like, so I'm like, I get it. The quote unquote true gamers, though, yeah, I mean, the people that call themselves true gamer, yeah, that's part of the reason. That's part of the reason I think the way I do is I don't think I'm a true gamer. I enjoy games. I want everybody to be able to enjoy games. I want everybody to be able to enjoy all games, regardless of their preferred platform. I want them to have access to playing everything. And a developer's, spending money to put all of it out on every console anyway, whether it sells better on one console or the other. So the same thing's applicable in this case. It's just they're going to still make it. I better get going, guys. Need to have lunch soon. Sophie's World is discussed on my Discord. Also, keep questioning everyone, I guess. P.S. Get that purple icon. Okay. You know my preference. Ghost of Yotai is coming out. I'm really excited to play that game on the system of my own. I'm not going to spend my time complaining that Gears E-Day isn't available on my platform. I get it, though, and that's kind of a bad point, is Gears will 100% be. Yeah, it will be. But I get what you're saying, too. Like, I think people, and I don't know if this is any of your reason. It may not be. But I think a lot of people like the idea of this exclusivity, and I have this and I get this, and it's there's a level of pride. For a lot of people, that's a big deal. I think a lot of people feel like that there's this pride. I have this console, and this console got this great game. I don't care. It's a machine that I had to pay a lot of my money for, so I just want it to be fun to play at the end of the day, and I'd like it to have the greatest opportunity to play the most amount of game
this for us.
that I can. Yeah, I want it to have the greatest amount of ability to play the most amount of game that it can play. I'm not proud of an Xbox. I'm not a proud Xbox user. I'm not a proud PS5. I'm not a proud Nintendo user. I just want to play games on whatever console fits my hands better or whatever. I'm not going to come out and say, and everybody kind of has this attachment. Oh, PS is better. Oh, Xbox is better. Oh, PC Master Race. I don't care. I'll buy the console that's appealing to me, but I want to play all of the games on that console. That's me. But a lot of people do. A lot of people, I mean, PlayStation people have been jealous of Gears for a long time. Matter of fact, one of my friends who was a PlayStation devotee, I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. I know I'm doing it wrong, certainly, but I don't understand what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, well, and then I don't like the idea of one platform either for the whole of an industry, because then that increases the chance of it being abused for like a monopoly. So like if all that was out was one console, I wouldn't agree with that either. The fact that people have the option to support the platform that they like the best is, that's what it is. That's what I'm hoping. Like I'm hoping that PlayStation does the best that they can to make their console the best that it can be, and Xbox does the same, and then people go in accordance with the appeal of the hardware and the controller shape and all this other stuff. Things like that. Because in some ways, the PC has always been that. The point of the console was just to make it more affordable, and the PC was basically the expensive version. In some ways, the gaming market has kind of almost always been pivoted towards PC. I've never felt that I had to justify my purchase either. I prefer PlayStation overall, so I'll enjoy what it has to offer. I can't play Mario. Well, tough. I can buy a Switch. I can either buy a Switch or wait to buy. Sure. No, and that's a reasonable. I think that's reasonable, but a lot of people aren't as reasonable as that. I wish they were. I think that's a very reasonable, very level-headed, and I think it's a good way to approach it. I really do. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people. I mean, you have to imagine the amount of flack that people like Nintendo and Microsoft and Santa Monica and so on get for not putting their stuff out for everybody. I mean, the amount of Xbox fans that were upset about not being able to play God of War, the amount of PlayStation fans that were upset about not being able to play Gears of War, PlayStation fans that were not willing to play. It's like, I agree with you. I think that's a great way to look. at the game console, but it's just so many people don't. And to some extent, I get it. It's like you say I can either buy a Switch or wait to buy it. Some people don't even have that. They won't even have that option 5 years down the road. I mean, it's, you know, some people aren't, they make enough money where it's like, you know, I got a good tax return this year and the stars aligned. This is my one console for the next, you know, 10 years. I have friends they don't make a ton of money and they're still on Xbox One. They didn't get a Series X or a Series S. They're still playing Xbox One. I have one that's still playing 360, even though he could probably get an Xbox One. But it's like, I get it. I also think my issue with all of these, I think my issue is all of these companies are at their worst when they have zero competition. Well, and that's why I think that that they should have competition. This isn't the disintegration of competition. It's that's the thing, is console exclusives aren't the only competition. They might be a determining factor for a lot of people, but arguably people have gotten too wrapped up now, and I think this is a bad thing, but they've gotten too wrapped up in specs, right? People want the best graphics. People want the best controller. People want the best ray tracing. And yeah, we can say go get a PC, but it's like a lot of people, that's what they're looking for. They're looking for they're looking for the massive amounts of teraflops that they're pulling, more than they even are looking at the I think more than they're even looking at the games themselves. That's fine for most people who don't genuinely have the option. I get it, but honestly, I don't believe that those are the types who are complaining. Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of those people, I know that kind of falls into the beggars can't be choosers category, but a lot of them do. A lot of them are upset that they can't play. You know, one of the big ones I'll give you is God of War Ragnarok. That was one of the big ones where there were people that couldn't afford both systems, and I mean, there were legitimate. I have a friend, he was so upset that, you know, I can't afford to get a PS5, but I can't play God of War Ragnarok. And that's what so I'd love to say that isn't the case, but I can definitely say, that is, those people are complaining about it for certain. They may not be the majority though, so you could be right on that. I just know a couple of them anecdotally, so maybe that's tempered my viewpoint a little bit. But that's at the end of the day, I don't see it as being just a ridiculous evil. It may not be the best, so I get it, but it's like, it did. I mean, again, it did used to be that way. So, I was going to bring up a point, but I don't know if I can. Okay. I feel like it's more towards PS and Xbox. You rarely see someone talking about how they can't play Mario on an Xbox One. They know why, and it's normal. Well, you also have Nintendo. I would argue Nintendo also has more elitists in the way that PC did. I would argue. Can I? I can't reach it because of the bars, right? Can I draw on the bars? Oh, I can draw on the bars. Maybe I can. Okay. Is that what I'm missing? Could that work? No, probably not. Maybe that'll work. Hold on, let me try this again. Can I do it on the cube? What if I did it on the cube? Hold on. 1 second. I want to try and figure this out. Maybe like that, and then maybe like that, maybe? Okay, that worked. That was a pain. That was an absolute pain. That was not at all intuitive. I've played this game before. I've passed this game before. I do not remember this part, but then again, I guess this is the reason that I blocked it from my memory. Good lord. I agree about that elitist. I mean, I think, like, I don't see as many, personally, I don't see as many Microsoft and PlayStation elitists as I do the Nintendo. I see PC and Nintendo still, but I don't see a lot of, I don't really see a lot of that. So I feel like a lot of the people that are on Nintendo, at least from what I see, or I think I see, is I think a lot of the I hit the wrong thing. I need to go this way. I think a lot of the come on me. I'm not gonna make it in time, am I? Yeah, I am. I'll be fine. I got it. Oop. There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted.
Thanks for the ride.
Okay. I think that's the thing, though. Sony have graphics elitists, Nintendo just have brand loyalty elitism in a way, and Xbox players won't buy anything. Obviously, not all examples. That's true. I would say you say Xbox players won't buy anything. And again, I don't like that. I use Game Pass. I have Game Pass, but I use the heck out of it because you used to be able to rent, right? I mean, you could rent video games, and that's kind of gone away a lot, which I think is a shame. So I use Xbox Game Pass the same way I use a rental service. I rent the game, and if I like it, I go buy the game. Claire Obscure was on Game Pass. I thought the game was really cool. I bought the physical copy of it because I love it. Same thing with Devil May Cry. Obviously, I bought the physical copy after getting to play it on Game Pass. Same thing with with Lego Star Wars. I wanted to see if it was going to be any different than the trilogy. So, like, I use it in the same way that a rental service would be used. That's the way I see it. Whoops. Just because you have a saber doesn't mean you're trained on how well to use it. That's also true for me, though. Why was he able to move as fast as I was? This is not a Jedi. This is just a guy with a lightsaber. Tag Loosh. Hold on, let me beat the heck out of this guy. You can't block that, and I couldn't dodge it either. Gosh, frick, god dang it. All right, that was much better.
Dagon must be sending them out for something.
It's not a dig at the players who use Game Pass. It'd be dumb not to use Game Pass or use an Xbox. It's an insane value, but Xbox have definitely trained most of their players not to play. Oh, that's true, and it's why they've actually asked today. They put a thing up. At least it was when we saw it. That was like, hey, please buy. Or please, stop using Game Pass and start supporting developers. It's like, well, you did set that precedent. I agree. I agree with you there completely. I use it as a rental service. I agree that it's too worthwhile not to. But at the same time, I also am very much in line with, I do want to support the people that I enjoy. Like, I like this game. I own the disc version of this game. Outlaws, as much as that game got flack, is a fun game. I own that game on disc. I played it digitally, and...
One of these devices. This one's broken too.
Well, let's take it, though.
He is coming. Destroy it now.
Sony do, let's see. Sony do too, but Sony have trained their player base not to buy anything that isn't a AAA $200 million budget game. It's terrible. It's why we can't have a Sly Cooper reboot at $30 because it's not big enough. The problem that I have with that too, and it's not just Sony obviously, but it's like that is exactly what the Claire Obscure team proved.
Another of Centauri's devices. Dad killed Jedi for destroying it. I think these could be our answer.
Okay.
Let's bring this back to Master Cordova.
And I think probably when we bring it to Cordova is going to be the finale, just because I think, or not it's not the final of the game, but I think it'll be the finale of the stream, just because we've been streaming for a good long while here.
Master T'Pol had this one. That window leads back outside. We should take this back to Jeddah. Master Cordova will want to see what we found.
We've already said that, Cal. We're up to date, bud. That's one of the big problems that I have. That is a that I think the Claire Obscure team and the Baldur's Gate team, for example, Larian and all, I think that's been put to rest. Is people want good games at good prices. Baldur's Gate was $60-$70, but it was 4 discs if you bought it on Xbox. It was 4 discs long. It was a lot of story. It's a lot of game for $60. Well worth exactly what you're paying. Move to Claire Obscure, which was a long game, for $40 or $50. I can't remember, but 40 or 50. Either way, it was like $10 or $20 under what the. It was like $10 to $20 under what the normal cost is. And it's like, you can, they are evidence of that. You can make good games that are not, back-breakingly expensive. You don't want to, because you want to be Strauss-Zelnick's, and everything's got to be $150 per title, because that's how you get your value out of it. But it's ridiculous that, I hope, I really do, I hope that that's the I hope that that's one of the big takeaways from Claire Obscure, is that you don't have to spend ridiculous amounts of money and have a great game, so long as there's general interest. But the thing about the Sly Cooper is that's also been disproven by people who literally have bought the Crash Bandicoot games and basically the Toys for Bob games, Crash Bandicoot Trilogy and Spyro the Dragon. It's like Sly Cooper would also do really well. I just miss old IP. A new Jack and Dexter doesn't need to have graphics like The Last of Us. Doesn't need to be 80 hours to make it simple. $30, 12-hour. Yeah, sure. I agree with that. It won't sell 40 million, but it doesn't have to. The scope is insane. I agree with that. And going to The Witcher 4, it's one of the reasons that I was excited to hear that they're not making it bigger. They're not focused on they said that they're like, we're not focused on making it bigger anymore. We just want to hone making it good, making it fun. It's supposed to be the same price when it comes out as everything else, but it's like bigger, badder, better isn't the case. They want to make it more, graphically impressive, which fine, whatever. They want to make it more, they want to make it pretty. I got more pry right. They want to make it pretty, which I'm fine with. But they don't want to. They're not gonna They're not working on making it bigger.
Your fool life. Who are you anyway?
I'm Turgle.
Well, if you want to keep breathing, you best follow me. This is Raider territory.
Aw. I like Turgle. Voiced by Richard Horowitz, which I think is... I like him. I don't know... as an actor, he was like Invader Zim and Billy from The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and yeah, anyway. Maybe. I'm gonna whack the heck out of you with this very heavy saber, though. Sure, when I played God of War 2018 or Horizon, I commented on the visual for about 2 minutes. I never thought about that again. Yeah, I don't either. I'm with you 110% on that.
Another bounty puck.
I don't care about the graphics all that much. Now, it doesn't mean I don't appreciate good graphics. Like, the Witcher 4 demo looks great. This is beautiful, right? But I don't need everything to be photorealistic. I want the story to be good. I want the gameplay to be solid. And you have to consider, I mean, a lot of the games we play are retro, right? A lot of them are the indie games that go for, you know, the cyber shadows. The cyber shadows and the ooh, I want that one.
Thanks for the lift.
This one. Come on. Come on, purple one. Come here, purple one. Thank you. Yeah, as I say, like for me, I think it was like, you know, I play a lot of Donkey Kong Country 3. I play a lot of, you know, I'm fine with the graphics not being great. Or not necessarily being great, but I'm fine with them just being basic representations of what they're intended to. I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with that. But yeah, that's it. The Witcher 4 wasn't their focus was, you know, we want to make a good cohesive game, and they're writing, you know, it's like the graphics are, there's a focus on the graphics being nice and pretty and everything, but they're not making everything bigger. It's just, we want this to be pretty, we want it to look good, we want it to feel good. They're working on the game feel, which I think is very important. Game feel is absolutely important to me. If a game doesn't play well, then I don't want anything to do with it. And they were like, yeah, we're gonna do this and that and the other with it. So I'm like, I'm really good with that. I'm super excited for Witcher 4. I'm stoked for that. I'm stoked for. I was super excited when The Witcher 3 came. So I was like, all right.
Where to?
We're gonna. What do you mean where to? We're going back to Jedi. Dang it.
Heading to Jedi.
Yeah, and that's the same thing. Like, I look at this game. This game's a couple of years old. It looks good to me. Looks good enough. I don't need Cameron Monaghan to look perfectly photorealistic.
How much do you owe her, Grease?
2,000 credits, give or take. Maybe I'll make Granny Pyloon's famous casserole and she'll forget all about it.
For 2,000 credits, that better be one hell of a casserole.
Yeah, like, Bode doesn't need to look perfect. Cameron Monaghan here doesn't need to look perfect. Yeah, like, it's fine. I get it.
All right, Cal, get up here.
Now, that having been said, with, again, Witcher 4, they did the tech demo. They were showing people in the background actually doing townspeople thing. I think that's fine. I think that the immersion of them just doing things is greater than the immersion of... I think the immersion of them just running their rounds and doing things is greater than the immersion of the, you know, making them look more photorealistic. Or the attempt to immerse us in them looking for more photorealistic. And the reason I like that is because it's like, oh, yeah, when you read a book, that's how my mind is working. Like, my mind is very, I read very quickly. I'm a decently fast reader, but my mind likes to set the scene. So when I really want to chew on a book, my mind isn't just, you know, well, what is going on right this minute with this character? It's also, well, what would be going on right now with this person? What does the world look like? My mind will try to paint that picture as best as I can. Okay, what's about to happen is, by the way, very important, so...
A strange device. This one seems to be a duplicate.
That way we understand.
Both have been damaged by lightsabers.
Wasn't me. This time.
Perish the thought.
You think you can fix it?
I don't know. But I will certainly try.
Master Junda, the Empire is nearing Pilgrim Sanctuary.
Is it a strike force?
No, an excavation team.
Good. They don't know about the safe house.
Yet.
Safe house?
Hidden in the ruins. Have we begun evacuations?
They're already underway, but Brother Armias isn't responding.
Armias communication codes.
If they capture him, it could put the entire hidden path at risk.
I know the ruins. I will go.
I'm coming with you.
Vote. You know what? I think I should stay here. Make myself useful.
I could use a research assistant.
Bring back Aramias.
You got it.
And no heroics.
With this one? No promises.
I think she was talking to you.
I like their dynamic. Again, the book,
Safe house far?
not good.
But we will need a spammel to get there. They gather near the base. Follow me.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to call it here. Yeah, I mean, I think personally... I think personally, we'll stop it there. We've got some important stuff coming up this next episode. It's going to be really big, so I want to save it here because I think this is really good. But yeah, that's my thing too. I don't get graphics. I really liked Nintendo came out with Live Alive, very very cool. Donkey Kong Countries and still Super Mario World. I still play the heck out of. I like the story. Like I said, I like The Witcher 4 is going to have people actually going through and doing their daily tasks, and it's like, okay, is it that important to everything? No, but what is that going to mean for my gameplay? Well, it means that if I approach a person at 9 in the morning, they may be at work, and I might be able to get them to smith me armor, or if I catch them at 6 p.m., I might know that they're going by the market to pick up something, and I might be able to catch them there organically to do. I like that. That kind of immersion in a game is fun for me, especially with games that have a lot of extra detail. But in terms of graphics, I don't care. I don't care all that much. And again, it also depends on the type of game. Like, I don't want that kind of detail in Doom. I just want to shoot things in Doom. So if I'm picking up Doom, I probably don't care all that much about detail. I care about death. I care about the gore. I want, Gears of War was one of those too. It's like, I don't care about that much about everybody running their own route. I just want, I just want the blood, guts, gore. I want the gratification of that. So I also find an insane reaction to dev layoffs weird. They're treated a bit too obsessive from gamers. I know it's terrible. It's bad news for the industry we love. People are losing it over being laid off who they've never met. Well, I think that is actually a pretty reasonable thing. We here in America, and I can't speak for the entirety of Microsoft. Obviously, this was over multiple territories, but we here in America are really starting to look at the trends of different various markets that have historically been successful and of companies that are claiming to be successful. And we're using that to kind of path what the future of the job market looks like in America, because right now the uncertainty of the job market in America is incredibly like the job market in America right now is ridiculously volatile. And so I don't think it's more people being outraged that random people are being laid off. I think it's people being worried because a successful company, a multi-billion-dollar company laying off a lot of people might be an indicative trend of our current very volatile job market outside. If a multi-billion-dollar company can't do well to hold on to you, what can a multi-million-dollar company do? What can a company that only grosses $600,000 a year do? Things are scary right now in terms of stability, in terms of being able to maintain stability, and especially in America. Things are really scary right now. So that's what I think a lot of that's coming from. I don't know that, but that's what I believe the case to be in most of these, and that seems to be what I'm seeing with some of the some of the publications based on it. But beyond that, I mean, I agree with you. If it's people just being like, I'm outraged because these people got laid off, I know there is also a group that sympathized with me where it's the fact that they were laid off for two reasons, which have been made public. One of which is to further their AI initiative, which that's a scary thing all in itself. I find it fascinating. People are going nuts, though they don't. Yet they don't when people in other industries are laid off. Maybe over here right now, any layoff is kind of being treated very aggressively. Again, I can't speak for the whole of it, so maybe that's not the case. But I can. The whole of the world, right? I can say right now, every layoff is being treated very severely, or very seriously. People are paying attention to the layoffs that are happening in, like, for example, the Tesla layoffs are a big deal right now. The layoffs that occurred as a result of Tesla, the results that occurred as a result of Microsoft, the AT&T layoffs that occurred. A lot of the different various companies that are being laid off over here are actually being very scrutinized, especially if it's in forwarding of the furthering of an AI initiative, because that kind of answers the question: what is the utility of a human worker when AI is cheaper? Right? It's very inexpensive to have an AI person do it, but then how do people live? Well, only the wealthy live because they have the AI development team, and a select few people that are highly, hyper skilled. But yeah, I know that there are a lot of, not everybody, right? But I think the big broad brush large companies right now that are being that are laying people off, I think they absolutely are being heavily scrutinized right now by a lot of people, because I think it's indicative of or they feel like it might be indicative of a pattern for them. So but yeah, a lot of the companies I've just mentioned, like I said, Microsoft, AT&T, just lots of different ones. So AI is not good. Yeah, I don't either. I'm not anti-AI, because eventually one of these days artificial intelligence will be actual intelligence. It will still be AI, but it'll be actual intelligence. I'm okay with that. I don't have any objection to that at all. I have objection when AI starts to replace us. That's the problem I have. I don't mind AI being a helper, but the fact that people are literally being laid off now to accommodate AI furtherings, that is a problem. That is undeniably a problem, because you have to work in order to have utility. You have to trade. What will you have if your skill sets are rendered completely useless by AI? What will you have to trade? It has to be material goods for material goods. If AI can run machines that till and farm, your farming capacity is not needed. If they can run machines that can lift and build, your strength isn't needed. If they can calculate faster than you, your mind isn't needed. The only questions will be philosophical questions, and even then, philosophers aren't particularly highly valued these days, as sad as that is. 4,000 years ago, that was the apex, to be someone revered as a teacher and a philosopher. Nowadays, we don't value that. You have machines that can do it for you. Socrates would be absolutely rolling over in his grave if he saw it today. I mean, obviously, culture shock would kill him, but beyond that, he would look at this and go, are you freaking kidding me? Like, these things do it all for you, and probably take advantage of it, but only insofar as the hedonist can do it before realizing the utility of the lack of utility and longevity. So we got to stop doing it. If AI becomes actual intelligence, we need to treat them like we, in some regard, but they don't need the same things we need. We need to make sure we're giving jobs to people that need to be able to make money so that they can spend it to eat. We don't need to be spending that money. We don't need to be giving that money to AI, who doesn't need to eat, so therefore is cheaper, but then also puts 9,000 people out of a job. 9,000 people who also need to eat and have families, probably. So that's where I have the problems. That's, But yeah, no, layoffs are being watched. I can say right now, at least in America, layoffs are being watched from every company, that's specifically predominantly American companies. Layoffs are being watched very diligently, and they're being scrutinized incredibly heavily, because right now we are in some scary places. We just had a bill pass, or that is being passed and being signed, that effectively heavily stipulates a lot of these benefits for people that make average money. Heavily stipulates it in a not so positive way. Very beneficial for wealthy people, not remarkably beneficial for lower middle income individuals. So I'm not criticizing the individual. I'm criticizing the bill itself. Do with that what you will, but I think people are I mean, self-preservation kicks in at a point. So, but anyway, yeah, I agree with you though. I don't like the way that I don't like where AI is going at all. So, but at any rate, I really appreciate everybody for popping in. I appreciate Bogus for stopping in, and Fighting Max for saying hi. Viddy, you too. And Ash, it is always an absolute pleasure to get to talk with you, and this is absolutely no exception. Just to talk with you about the state of things, the gaming industry, the consoles, the AI, game-specific things. It's always just a pleasure to get to speak with you and to compare and contrast. So I always appreciate you popping in and saying hi. Seems like it's always beneficial for the wealthy. If we continue, this is the thing that I believe is we have to stop. I remember this always, and it's Air Force One, a movie with Harrison Ford from the 90s, 1995, I think. Beautiful movie. Harrison Ford versus Gary Oldman, basically, is the dynamic. Harrison Ford is the president of the United States, and they talk about this at the beginning. He's there on Air Force One, which is an airplane for the president. He's there on Air Force One with his wife, with his daughter, and the whole premise of it is that Air Force One gets hijacked by Russian terrorists because of this thing. But basically, the president stands up in front of them and talks about how he's remorseful that they acted too slowly and in poor fashion, and all this other stuff. And then they kind of reminisce when they go back on the plane with his wife, and it's like, we borrowed a car and borrowed some, bought some material to make some signs, and drove in the snow with the signs saying, "I'm running, vote for me," basically. He's ex-military, so he's got some, there's some patriotism in the blood, but it's basically they wrote a sign and they couldn't get the top on the car working. So it indicates they weren't really well-to-do, but people believed in him and his patriotism despite his general lack of wealth. That's what we need to be doing when it comes to elected officials, is stop voting in wealthy people just because they're wealthy. Vote in people who are the most capable regardless of their wealth, right? If they're a middle-income individual who has some experience as a paralegal or something like that, then they may or may not be. But if you have someone that's a middle-income, well-educated individual who happens to have plans, and they can surround themselves with a cabinet of people who specifically work in specific fields or certain fields, vote for them. Let them do the thing, because wealthy are always going to benefit wealthy, right? And that's not saying that people that aren't that wealthy won't get corrupted into it, but it's a slower process for them coming into wealth. Like, President of the United States only makes $400,000 a year, and that's a lot of money, right? But that's not a lot of money for the commander-in-chief of an entire first world country. When you consider that, like we were talking about earlier, actors make millions of dollars, generally per film. The president doesn't even make $500,000 a year just to be the leader of an entire first world country. Yeah. So, vote people in that would be appreciative of that salary, not the people that turn that salary down in order to continue making their billions of dollars from other ventures. And that's not a dig at just Trump. That's not a dig. Other presidents have turned that salary down to make their outside businesses. Anyway, a huge thank you for everybody popping in and saying hi and talking with me. It's always a wonderful pleasure to get to speak with you all. I will let you go. It is certainly a wonderful weekend. I hope everyone who, those of you who do celebrate, had a wonderful Independence Day, a wonderful 4th of July. I hope that your July 5th is coming to a fantastic close and that your July 6th is just as pleasant. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a wonderful rest of your week. And we'll talk to you next time. Thanks.